He was Xiao Changqing, the newly crowned King Shen of the entire realm, admired by countless noble ladies. Yet, this favored son of heaven couldn't obtain the love of the one he desired, Jiyu Qingji. For 3 years, they had been married. For 3 years, he had pampered her. But she, right in front of him, showed affection to other women. He even tolerated her open intimacy with others. No matter how indifferent she was to him, he remained unperturbed, always composed and aloof. Jiyu Qingji, you have no heart. You've gone too far. Xiao Changqing suppressed the rage in his heart, his voice strained. He didn't love her, not one bit. Even though she was admired and pursued by many, she was nothing in his eyes. He thought, since she didn't love him, he would make her hate him. So he openly favored other women, but she remained unmoved. He even made her cousin a concubine, but she remained indifferent. Until today, King Shen, Xiao Changqing, personally executed the entire Jiyu family, people, including her 3-year-old nephew. It is always said that a powerful army weakens the emperor, and a powerful emperor weakens the army. It's just a power struggle. The Jiyu family's fate today is because father was incompetent. We were born into a noble family, enjoying its prestige and wealth. Now that the family has fallen, we must bear the consequences. The matter is settled. We have already lost everything. I will not disgrace the dignity of a noble family, the honor of a noble lady. But Xiao Changqing still wanted to protect her. You are the princess consort. This will never change. For her, he was willing to defy the officials, to bear any consequences. But Jiyu Qingji just laughed coldly. Your Highness is aiming for the dragon throne. Defying the emperor at this time is not a wise move. You should give me a cup of poison. Only then will the emperor be pleased. Xiao Changqing shook his head furiously. Jiyu Qingji, don't even think about it. I know you never wanted to marry me. You endured it for 3 years for the Jiyu family, and now you seek death as a release. But in the next moment, she drank the poisoned wine herself. Before Xiao Changqing could stop her, he watched his wife and child. Watching his beloved end her life, he was consumed by pain. Without hesitation, Xiao Changqing picked up the other cup of poisoned wine. In that instant, he thought, even in death, she couldn't escape him. Whether alive or dead, she could only be his. In that moment, Jiyu Qingji saw many images flash before her eyes. She remembered how Xiao Changqing, at 15, astounded the scholars at the Imperial Academy. But she had other affections. The love between a man and a woman meant nothing to her. Soon, the poison took hold, and blood trickled from her lips. Xiao Changqing rushed towards her in a panic. Time seemed to stand still. Jiyu Qingji's body slowly fell to the ground. Xiao Changqing held her in his arms, heartbroken. Jiyu Qingji coughed up blood. Before Xiao Changqing could finish grieving, he saw a pool of blood flow from beneath Jiyu Qingji. He finally realized that Jiyu Qingji had been pregnant, a fact he had been completely oblivious to. Even the most excruciating pain couldn't describe Xiao Changqing's anguish. You're cruel. You're too cruel. Jiyu Qingji, carrying his unborn child, left him without a second thought, utterly heartless. If she wanted to die, no one could stop her. Xiao Changqing would never know why he, having drunk the same poison, showed no signs of being affected. It turned out that the real poison wasn't the wine, but the incense she had been subtly altering for 3 years. He didn't know that her specialty was blending incense. By a stroke of fate, Jiyu Qingji was reborn as Shen Shihe, the esteemed daughter of the powerful Shen family. Learning from the Jiyu family's annihilation, she vowed to protect her equally powerful family. She planned to marry the sickly crown prince and secure her position with an heir. However, the crown prince seemed different from what she expected. He wasn't frail, and he wasn't dying. Things were developing beyond her control. She was Shen Shihe, the noble and aloof daughter of the esteemed Northwest King, Shen Yushan. But the Shen family's decline was just a matter of political maneuvering. The Jiyu family had fallen, lives tragically lost. With everything lost, she, carrying his unborn child, had chosen death. By a twist of fate, after death, Jiyu Qingji was reborn as the renowned and intelligent Shen Shihe, daughter of Shen Yushan, the esteemed Northwest King. Shen Shihe, daughter of the famed Northwest King, Shen Yushan. But why did the real Shen Shihe die in the river? That's because he was pushed into the boat by his personal bodyguard Ling Gong. Because she was pushed into the river by her personal maid, Ling Meng. My lady. A young maidservant rushed to find her mistress. Shen Shihe was carefully carried back to her room. Bitter medicine filled her mouth, warming her cold stomach. Shen Zihe's memories returned. My lady, you're finally awake. Are you all right? Shen Shihe groaned in pain. She knew the pain wouldn't be easily relieved. She asked about Ling Meng, only to learn that Ling Meng had died as well. How convenient, she murmured. She's probably long gone. She coldly ordered her maids, Pearl and Ziyu, to report to the authorities and pursue the fugitive servant. Ziyu paled. There was a kind mistress. How could Ling Meng do such a treacherous thing? Shen Shihe closed her eyes. Ling Meng faked her death. Someone must be behind this. If I'm still alive, they will surely try again. From then on, Shen Shihe became quiet and reserved. Pearl and the others were cautious. Even though they noticed she was more distant, they assumed it was because of Ling Meng's betrayal. The former Shen Shihe was intelligent and sensitive, born in the rugged northwest. Yet she remained elegant and aloof, like a delicate flower untouched by the harsh winds. Shen Shihe started reviewing the documents sent by the spies in the capital. The powerful Fan family had framed the Jiyu family for treason, leading to their execution. But the Fan family was merely a tool used by the emperor. Soon after, they were imprisoned for harming the prince and conspiring against the emperor. Seeing the news of the Fan family's downfall, Shen Zihe's expression finally softened. Pearl noticed this subtle change and realized her mistress was in a better mood. So the Jiyu family was framed by the Fan family. Unfortunately, the entire Jiyu family had been executed. Even the emperor was willing to exonerate the Jiyu family. He had no choice but to use the Fan family as a scapegoat to appease the public. But the noble families relied on each other. After the Jiyu family's fall, the other powerful families would surely unite against the Fan family. Otherwise, they would be the next target. They also wanted to warn the emperor that noble families weren't to be trifled with. Shen Shihe closed her eyes, enjoying the warm sunlight. She started to enjoy the scent of the freshly cut flowers she had received after falling into the water, finding their fragrance particularly soothing. Shen Shihe rested in Linxiang Garden for half a month. During this time, she heard about the eunuch sent by the emperor. The eunuch, Huang Degui, was supposed to be a respectable official. But after arriving, he lived extravagantly, extorting merchants and officials, amassing a fortune. Today, he even brought a girl back to his courtyard, Ziyu said indignantly. A eunuch, wanting a girl. He's really overstepping his bounds. Yet no one dared to challenge him. Let's go see him, Shen Shihe said calmly. They arrived at Huang Degui's courtyard. Huang Degui hastily knelt before Shen Shihe. Behind him was a young woman clinging to his robes, tears streaming down her face. Clearly, she was a Liang family member. Greetings, my lady. I beg your forgiveness. I would have come if I had known you summoned me. It was my fault for not coming sooner. Shen Zihe's eyes turned cold. Huang Degui, do you know where the last servant who made me come to him is now? Huang Degui's heart sank. My lady, please calm down. I will ask for the emperor's forgiveness. Before he could react, he was struck and fell to the ground, his hands bound. A guard pinned him down. I am sent by his majesty. Even you. Gag him, Shen Shihe said coldly. Mu Yu, dressed in black, clamped a hand over Huang Degui's mouth. Shen Shihe whispered, send the girl away. Discipline those who need disciplining. Then tell Mo Yuan to prepare for our departure. Early the next morning, Shen Shihe left Linxiang Garden, choosing to travel by road this time. Lying inside the carriage, Shen Shihe finished her medicine and ordered the driver to start. The small windows revealed glimpses of the outside scenery. Shen Shihe realized this wasn't the main road. Since we're leaving, why not ask Mo Yuan directly? Why take this bumpy mountain road instead of the smooth main road? Is he deliberately trying to make things difficult for my lady? Ziyu was about to get off the carriage, but Shuebi stopped her. Use your brain. Mo Yuan is now serving my lady. Only the king can overrule my lady. And in their eyes, my lady represents the king. Shen Shihe sat up. There must be a reason. Help me down. I'll take a walk. She was Shen Shihe, the noble and aloof Jiayang Junzu. Even in front of his majesty, I have the right to choose. But the crown prince had said, no matter how many choices you have, ultimately, you can only choose me. Although I'm weak, I can fulfill all your desires. But, she had witnessed him. She had personally witnessed him. She had personally witnessed him kill someone with her own eyes. His swordsmanship was exceptional, rumored to be the best in the martial world. Don't pretend, your highness. Not long ago, the Jiayang Junzu had just dealt with a corrupt eunuch, Huang Degui. Seeing the eunuch struggle with the gag, Jiayang Junzu got off the carriage at a cliff. She ordered her maids to bring Huang Degui to the edge, then gagged him. Huang Degui was terrified. My lady. This is treason. I am his majesty's. Shen Shihe calmly waved her hand, ordering Mo Yuan to push Huang Degui off the cliff. A scream echoed, followed by the cries of birds. The two young maids almost fainted, but Shen Shihe didn't leave immediately. She stood at the edge, gazing at the mountain flowers as if admiring the scenery. After a while, Huang Dege's screams came again, mixed with the roars of tigers and bears. The two maids trembled, realizing that Shen Zihe's intention wasn't to push him to his death, but to lure wild beasts with incense to devour him. Shen Zihe's expression remained calm, as if nothing had happened. She turned to the terrified maids. How should we report Huang Dege's death? One of the maids quickly responded. Report that he fell off the carriage, and was attacked by wild beasts while escorting you back to the capital. Good, Shen Shihe smiled faintly. Very clever. Your companion is now your responsibility. It would be treason if all the eunuchs died. She didn't kill him directly because it would leave evidence. She also wanted to intimidate the other two, to show them how Huang Degue was devoured. Only then would they be afraid to offend her again. Suddenly, a clear voice came from the woods behind them. Jiayang Junzu killing the emperor's eunuch. What a convenient excuse. A figure emerged, swiftly approaching them, landing gracefully before them. The newcomer was half a head taller than Shen Shihe, with striking features, a calm expression, and sharp eyes. They exuded a free-spirited aura. Who are you? Mo Yuan asked sharply. Already. I killed him. Shen Shihe ordered Mo Yuan to step back and walk towards the newcomer. In a low voice, only audible to them, she said, the heir of the Shunan king, disguised as a woman. What a risky move. The empire had two powerful kings. The Northwest king and the Shunan king, both guarded the borders, each commanding an army of. Even though the emperor seemed to favor one over the other, the empire's stability depended on these two. Bu Shulin stared at Shen Shihe. Is this how the Jiayang Junzu treats people? Admit it, Shen Shihe whispered, stepping closer to Bu Shulin. Evening primrose fragrance. Her sense of smell was exceptionally keen. She had caught the faint scent of evening primrose when Bu Shulin passed by. This fragrance was unique and wouldn't be used by ordinary people. Bu Shulin stepped back, creating distance between them. Why are you here? Let's pretend we never met. She had just learned that the Shunan king's only child was a woman. If the emperor found out, the Shunan family would be doomed. Bu Shulin's hand reached for her sword. Mo Yuan instantly appeared before Shen Shihe. Shen Shihe stepped back calmly. The Northwest and Shunan families will never be enemies. In her memory, Shen Yushan and Bu Tuohai had always been allies. Their limited interaction was due to the distance. Neither Shen Yushan nor Bu Tuohai had ambitions for the throne. The safety of their territories was paramount. Bu Shulin relaxed her grip. Consider this a favor in return, my lady. With those words, she vanished from sight. Jiayang Junzu, Shen Shihe, could choose any man she desired, be it a royal or nobleman. The aloof Jiayang Junzu had already planned her marriage, but she discovered that her father had arranged a blind date with a young scholar named Xiao Shuji. Mo Yuan had taken the mountain road instead of the main road on their return trip, because it was a hunting ground favored by the general. The clash of swords echoed. A figure in gold robes was surrounded by assassins. Shen Shihe frowned. The strong scent of blood filled the air. Is this Shen Yushan's choice? A beauty saving a hero? Father has indeed made a good arrangement. Mo Yuan rushed over. My lady, should I go and investigate? Shen Shihe glanced at him. No need. Mo Yuan stiffened, not daring to disobey. Xiao Shuji, her intended, was skilled, but outnumbered. My lady, we should. Mo Yuan started. No one interferes today. The surrounded man was Xiao Changning, the emperor's ninth son, the Prince Lai. In her past life, her husband, Xiao Changqing, had been 15 years older than her. It seemed Consort Rong's favor was truly profound. The Jiyu family had chosen Consort Rong's eldest son, Xiao Changqing, for her, and Shen Yushan had chosen Consort Rong's youngest son, Xiao Changning. Both shrewd men favored Consort Rong. Shen Shihe would have respected her father's choice if it were any other prince, but not Xiao Changqing or his brother. She hesitated. Let's go, she whispered to Mo Yuan, turning back. Mo Yuan was frustrated. The king had put in so much effort, hoping Prince Lai would owe Junzu a favor, but she was indifferent. Xiao Changning had never met such a woman. Witnessing such a brutal scene, she didn't flinch, showing no concern for his plight, and simply walking away. It was infuriating. But the proud prince, chased for 3 days, was exhausted. His pride wouldn't allow him to lower himself before such a woman, but reality forced him to swallow his pride. If he missed this chance, he would truly be at their mercy. With a flick of his wrist, Xiao Changning tossed a jade pendant towards Shen Shihe. It snapped into midair, but it didn't diminish its elegant trajectory. The broken jade revealed its intricate inner workings, a design recognizable to most noble families. It was the symbol of the fourth prince, given to him on his 12th birthday. Each one was a pre-assigned token carved with their names, symbolizing their identities. A moment ago, he could have pretended nothing happened and left. Now, he couldn't. Knowing an imperial prince was being pursued, and not rescuing him, was a crime punishable by death to 9 generations. If Xiao Changjing died here, Yu Ningdi would have a perfect excuse to deal with the Shenyu Mountain clan. It seems everyone in the royal family is not so simple. Shen Shihe and Qing Tan held their breaths. Lord Mo Yuan, save him. Mo Yuan was the iron-blooded military general of the Northwest Military Academy. He led the elite soldiers of the Northwest. Dealing with these already exhausted assassins was no trouble at all. After Mo Yuan dealt with everyone, Xiao Changjing was half kneeling on the ground, utterly exhausted. His trembling hand gripped his ordinary sword, barely supporting his body. Practically, all his internal organs ruptured, except for the pre-assigned token. Shen Shihe slowly walked to Xiao Changjing. Fortunately, Your Highness is still alive. Fortunately, Your Highness is still alive. Already severely injured, Xiao Changjing coughed up a mouthful of blood. Yes, he was angered. This poor, unlucky prince had suffered multiple deep sword wounds during the assassin's pursuit, and the wounds were poisoned. Qing Tong, a young maid, was applying acupuncture to prevent the poison from spreading to his vital organs, but the poisoned flesh around the wound had to be cut away. Otherwise, the prince would lose his arm. Princess Zhao Yang walked to the prince's bedside with an impassive face. Fu Ziyu, there are mantua flowers in the fields 3 miles from here. Go and pick some. At this moment, the princess, possessing the soul of a seasoned professional, was skilled in calligraphy, painting, and all forms of art. But her specialty was poison. There was no other way. If Prince Xiao Changjing lost this arm today, the Shen family would be guilty of a serious crime. If he succumbed to the poison, everyone present would be sentenced to death. Since either way was bad, it was better to take a gamble. In the current Great Shen dynasty, poison was an indispensable skill for prestigious families. Shen Shihe was a brilliant young lady. Her father, Shen Yushan, had even invited a master from Jiangnan to teach her. But most people only considered poison as a hobby. Only Jiu Qing, obsessed with its ultimate principles, would use such an elegant thing to kill and harm. The incense was lit, and white smoke curled out, which Xiao Changjing inhaled. After inhaling the incense, Xiao Changjing fell into a deep sleep. Princess Zhao Yang ordered someone to bring a red-hot knife. She cut down on the reddish-purple poisoned flesh. The immense pain made even the unconscious Xiao Changjing scream in agony. He grabbed Princess Zhao Yang's hand. The immense force instantly left finger marks on her fair arm. Princess Zhao Yang's expression remained unchanged. She calmly instructed, cut deeper. Junzu and the others were heartbroken. Our princess is so brave. Only when Junzu finished assisting the princess in treating Xiao Changjing's wound did she tear up. The prince's jade-like face was now marred by such a deep wound. How could he face the world if it left a scar? Princess Zhao Yang was completely indifferent. It's only on his arm. It's not on his face. She turned to Junzu and asked, have you and Mo Yuan figured out who your true master is? Mo Yuan and Junzu knelt together. We obey the princess' orders. Princess Zhao Yang said coldly, I want obedient and discerning assistants whom I can trust, not slaves who think they know what's best for me. Leaving the Northwest, I am no longer that naive little girl who needs protection. We are about to enter the capital. I won't be that sentimental girl who only understands melancholy and poetry. No one but me can decide my marriage. Do you understand? Mo Yuan and Junzu replied firmly and respectfully, yes, we understand. Princess Zhao Yang looked at the two in silence for a moment. The capital is different from the Northwest. In the Northwest, Princess Zhao Yang was a pearl, and everyone treasured her. No one dared to have any disrespectful thoughts. If she didn't wake them up now, they might lose their lives in the capital. The former Shen Shihe was naive and sensitive. Even though she knew her ultimate mission, she still avoided it. That was why Mo Yuan and Junzu had joined forces to deceive her. Her encounter with Xiao Changjing was like a storybook romance, with life-saving grace repaid with marriage. Even if Xiao Changjing had ulterior motives, he would definitely be moved by her genuine innocence. This was Shen Yushan's plan. But Shen Yushan forgot. His daughter, though intelligent, was still a young girl at a dreamy, love-struck age. If she truly fell for the handsome and noble Xiao Changjing, who knew who would capture whose heart? And now, as an old soul, Princess Zhao Yang only wanted to focus on her tasks. So, tell me, why was Prince Lian Wang pursued? Mo Yuan respectfully replied, Prince Lian Wang was investigating the Yangzhou tea smuggling case. Princess Zhao Yang smiled faintly. Is that the Yangzhi girl, whose beauty captivated the hero Qiu Yongzhong and indirectly caused the death of the seventh prince, shaking the entire court. The hero cannot resist the beauty. Men conquer the world with force, requiring iron horses and bloody battlefields, but women conquer the world by conquering men. No man can escape the allure of beauty. There's only not enough beauty, never a man who isn't hooked. Prince Xiao Changjing left the capital precisely because he discovered Yang Ji's background. Behind Yang Ji is a den of thieves in Yangzhou. They train young and beautiful girls to be sent to powerful families as wives and concubines, gathering intelligence and influencing the court. Prince Xiao likely obtained evidence against them and was thus pursued. But how many people will he implicate this time? Shen Shiyi asked, who changed Prince Lian Wang's blood-soaked clothes yesterday. Were there any letters or tokens on him? Jin Zhu thought carefully and shook her head. I didn't see any. Bring me all the prince's clothes and boots. Shen Shiyi didn't find anything hidden in the boots. Finally, her eyes fell on a barely discernible petal, seemingly from some flower, stuck to the sole. She picked it up and sniffed it carefully. It was a Ban Bian Lian petal. Shen Shiyi smiled faintly and turned to Mu Yi. You personally retrace Prince Lian Wang's escape route. Dig up any place where Ban Bian Lian grows and shows signs of being trampled. Bring back whatever you find. Mu Yi, Princess Zhao Yang's most trusted subordinate, wanted her to marry the sickly crown prince. But late that night, the gravely injured ninth prince, Xiao Changjing, snuck into her room, pinning her to the bed and demanding, why didn't you choose Lian Wang? Not long ago, Xiao Changjing was saved by Princess Zhao Yang. Fearing the loss of evidence regarding the imperial conspiracy, he had buried his belongings in the soil near some Ban Bian Lian flowers after his last escape. If he died here, someone would surely come looking for this evidence, so the spot wouldn't be too far. Indeed, after 2 hours, Mu Yi returned with a box covered in mud. Shen Shiyi smiled faintly. I didn't misjudge you. She brazenly examined the account books that Xiao Changjing nearly lost his life to obtain. She couldn't help but sigh. This case was far-reaching and serious. Mo Yuan respectfully asked, Princess, what should we do with this? Shen Shiyi said, do you have a way to get this into the Crown Prince's hands without leaving a trace? To the Crown Prince. Mo Yuan raised his voice. Before leaving the northwest, the prince instructed us not to let the princess get close to the Crown Prince. Glancing at Xiao Changjing inside, he lowered his voice. The whole court knows the Crown Prince won't live past 5 years. Moreover, due to health issues since he was 8, the Crown Prince has been confined to the Eastern Palace. He has no foundation in court and is a powerless figurehead. The other princes are all waiting for the emperor to pass away to compete for the throne. Shen Shiyi gave a meaningful, subtle smile. Isn't it better that has short-lived, princess? But Mo Yuan was momentarily stunned. Shen Shiyi continued calmly. The Northwest, like the recently exterminated Jiyu family, cannot coexist with the current imperial family. To protect the Northwest and the Shen family, I must become empress. But since Yuning Di won't marry me, I must marry one of his sons. But Yuning Di's sons are all formidable. Rather than gambling on affection, it's better to choose a short-lived one and secure the Shen family's future with a grandson before it's too late. Mo Yuan turned pale at Shen Shiyi's astonishing words. Go tell my father this is my decision, a gamble with my life. Don't dissuade me, because once the bet is placed, there's no turning back. Mo Yuan silently retreated. The group stayed at a roadside inn for a few days. Late one night, as Shen Shiyi was about to sleep, she saw the ninth prince sneak into her room, his fox-like eyes fixated on her. It seems your highness has recovered well. In that case, I can safely entrust you to Princess Changsha. What did you say? Xiao Changjing looked down at Shen Shiyi. You want to entrust me to Princess Changsha? Naturally. Your highness is a man, and I am unmarried. Yesterday's situation was an emergency, but now that your highness is safe, I should avoid suspicion. Now that your highness has recovered, I should maintain a proper distance. Hearing this, Xiao Changjing grabbed the prince's hand and asked urgently, Shen Shiyi, do you think this is a mere coincidence? I was chased all the way from Guanglin to Changsha. At the brink of death, you just happened to show up. Don't tell me this is just a coincidence. You set such a big trap for me, and now that I've taken the bait, you're acting affectionate. Shen Shiyi looked at Xiao Changjing with clear eyes. Your highness, perhaps you've forgotten. If I hadn't helped you escape the city that day, you would be a dead man by now. Xiao Changjing immediately apologized. What are you saying? Shen Shiyi's clear voice drifted. Let me tell you, your highness, before I left the northwest, I had already memorized the appearances of all the imperial princes. My arrival in the capital was no accident. Of the princes who are of marriageable age, 4 remain unwed. Why would I choose you? In terms of nobility, you are inferior to the crown prince. In terms of favor, you are inferior to Prince Zhao. In terms of temperament, you are inferior to Prince Jin. In terms of seniority, you are also behind Prince Shen. Shen Shi has calm evaluation, discussing the imperial princes, as if commenting on goods. Ignored the throbbing vein on Xiao Changjing's forehead. The only thing you excel in is your reputation as the Wolf King. Tell me, why should I approach you? The Wolf King, Xiao Changjing, the 9th son of the emperor, was known for his ruthless hunting and violent temper. He was a feared and notorious figure. Shen Shi shed her gentle facade. I am the daughter of the Northwest King. Do you believe this encounter was a mission assigned to me? It was His Majesty's imperial decree. Hearing this, Xiao Changjing's face slowly broke into a wide smile. He tightly grasped the girl's hand and said, Shen Shi, regardless of why you're here, regardless of your purpose, you have truly captured my attention. I don't believe there's a woman in this world that I, Xiao Changjing, cannot obtain. The Crown Prince's daily routine. The intelligent Crown Prince plays his schemes calmly and dispassionately, pushing people into the abyss. The reborn heroine, newly unemployed, excels at overt schemes, pushing people into the abyss with righteous indignation. But before the heroine could even report to the Crown Prince, she was cornered late at night by another prince declaring his possessiveness. Shen Shi, regardless of why you're here, you have truly captured my heart. I don't believe there's a woman in this world that I, Xiao Changjing, cannot obtain. Shen Shi was cornered by Xiao Changjing. Your Highness, please let go of my hand. Her sleeve slipped, revealing her bandaged arm. Xiao Changjing's gaze flickered, recalling how his fingers had grazed the princess' skin last night. Xiao Changjing's eyes softened slightly as he released her. Having regained her freedom, Shen Shi calmly uttered, even His Majesty has things he cannot obtain. Remember this, Your Highness, I, Shen Shi, am destined to be the woman you will never possess, no matter how hard you try. Don't waste your affections on me. Hearing these words, Xiao Changjing froze. Shen Shi didn't spare him another glance and left without hesitation. The next day, Shen Shi left the temporary residence with Prince Xiao Changjing, heading for the capital. On the carriage, Shen Shi didn't turn her head, but she asked, is the matter settled? Eunuch Mo Yuan respectfully replied, your subordinate has personally delivered the evidence to the Crown Prince. It's foolproof. The Changsha magistrate is also on his way to meet the Wolf King. He will arrive in half an hour. Good, but the princess has given the evidence to the Crown Prince, and your rescue of the Wolf King cannot be hidden. I'm afraid the Crown Prince will know of the princess' presence as soon as he receives the evidence. The princess has saved the Wolf King's life, and yet is also close to the Crown Prince. This subordinate is worried. Mo Yuan dared not continue, but Shen Shi, ever so intelligent, chuckled, worried that he'll end up with nothing, playing both sides. I just want to see if the Crown Prince is worth my efforts. As for the Wolf King, my father arranged this damsel in distress scenario, but he has shown no gratitude. It's better to draw a clear line sooner rather than later. After all, a falling out with him is inevitable. To prevent Xiao Changjing from pursuing her, she had her personal maid disguise herself as the princess and continue the journey by carriage, while she took another carriage to Luoyang, openly departing, secretly hiding. It seems Shen Shi won't rest until she infuriates the Wolf King. At that moment, in Xiao Changjing's courtyard, a nimble subordinate knelt before him. Your Highness, your subordinate has failed. Please punish me. Xiao Changjing was applying medicine to a leg wound, still pondering Shen Shi's earlier actions. Rise. It was my negligence. Did you retrieve the item? The subordinate kowtowed. Your subordinate investigated thoroughly. The ground had been dug up, and the item is gone. Xiao Changjing abruptly sat up. What did you say? The subordinate kept his head lowered. The item was taken. Your subordinate is incompetent, and couldn't find out who did it. Xiao Changjing clenched his fists and sneered. I underestimated her. Xiao Changjing got out of bed and stormed out, only to find Shen Shi's courtyard mostly empty. The morning's activity was a ruse to mask the sounds of packing, allowing her to leave unnoticed. The lingering dust from the departing carriage caught Xiao Changjing's eye, his gaze darkening ominously. Very well, Shen Shi. Don't let me catch you. He was about to give chase. The subordinate beside him quickly advised, Your Highness, your wound hasn't healed. Please allow your subordinate to pursue her. I will definitely catch her. Of course, the subordinate wouldn't catch her. Shen Shi had already switched carriages, and was on her way to Luoyang to meet Bu Shuling, the Marquis of the South Sun. This man possessed a face that was both familiar and unfamiliar, with a boyish charm. He loved to roam the forests. He was the mischievous and playful Bu Shuling, the Marquis of the South's son. The empire had two powerful frontier kings, the heroine Shen Shihe's father, the Northwest King, and the playful Bu Shuling's father, the Marquis of the South. These two bear-like generals each commanded an army of troops. The stability of the Great Qing dynasty's reign was largely due to their contributions. Bu Shuling, with his characteristic lack of decorum, exclaimed, "Princess, you've actually come to Luoyang. I've been searching everywhere for you." Shen Shihe calmly wiped her mouth. "Marquis, long time no see." Bu Shuling blinked. Bu Shuling, a large man, sat next to Shen Shihe. Two furry ears popped out from atop his head. Shen Shihe calmly stood and kicked the stool. The poor, furry dog was sent tumbling. Fortunately, Bu Shuling's martial arts skills were high, so he wasn't hurt. Bu Shuling removed his armor and sat back down. "Princess, you're so heartless." Shen Shihe poured him a cup of water. "Have some water, calm down." Bu Shuling, still dazed from being tricked, stared at the cup. Shen Shihe said, "It's poisoned." Bu Shuling spat out a mouthful of water. Shen Shihe, smiling, poured him another cup. "Just kidding." Bu Shuling hurriedly drank it, but before he could put the cup down, Shen Shihe said, "The cup is poisoned." Bu Shuling's heart couldn't take it. Tears welled up in his eyes. "Princess, you're so cruel." "I came here with a sincere heart." Shen Shihe asked softly, "Have you found the four assassins?" Defeated, Bu Shuling collapsed on the table, staring resentfully at Shen Shihe. Shen Shihe had someone bring the incense burner and remove the burning incense. A cool fragrance drifted from the burner. Bu Shuling gradually regained his senses and strength. The rumors about the innocent and kind princess are truly eye-opening. Looking at the pitiful Bu Shuling, Shen Shihe's voice was gentle. "You once said that meeting my father would expose your secrets, but you couldn't resist. So today, I specially changed my appearance for you." Bu Shuling brightened. "Thank you, princess. I also have a gift for you." He waved his hand, and someone was brought in. Shen Shihe's eyes turned cold. It was Ling Long, the culprit who had pushed her into the water. Ling Long looked at Shen Shihe with a pitiful gaze, seemingly recalling past kindness, and a trace of joy at seeing her again. Shen Shihe, unreadable, smiled faintly. "Your disguise skills are lacking." Ling Long's gaze remained fixed. Bu Shulin leaned closer. "Haha, Zeheme, is my gift good? With the warrant you issued, all the escaped convicts will be caught. I searched so hard for your peace of mind. Aren't you surprised?" Shen Shihe smiled faintly. "I knew where he was hiding. Issuing the warrant was just a ploy to make the Kang residents lower their guard. Shulin, sending hundreds of people like that. Aren't you deliberately leading the Kang residents to suspect me?" "Don't think Shen Shihe can't guess your intentions. He knows you're a woman, but he doesn't dare to act against you, so he's letting the Kang residents do the dirty work." No, 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 no. Bu Shulin shook her head like a rattle drum. My fault, my fault. Zeheme, you're right, Shen Shihe said languidly, but you've disrupted my plans. I owe you one. I'll definitely repay you. Bu Shulin quickly promised. Shen Shihe nodded in satisfaction. All right. So now, you owe me 1 life and 3 favors. Somehow owing so much, Bu Shulin nodded blankly. Shen Shihe said calmly, since that's the case, help me deal with this criminal. Make him a hostage, infiltrate the Kang residence at night, and place him in old Princess Kang's courtyard. Image. The usually bold Bu Shulin couldn't help but pat her chest. So terrifying, so ruthless. To think there are such ferocious women in this era. Indeed, the most poisonous thing is human nature. Bu Shulin's confidant, standing beside her, chuckled. Young master, haven't you forgotten you're a woman too? The reborn Jiaoyang Junzu, Shen Shihe, declared war on her previous husband. The reason being her pitiful younger brother, Prince Lai, Xiao Changjing, was too pitiful. Although their mother was the powerful imperial concubine Rong, who controlled the imperial seal in the inner palace. Within the palace, no one was more noble than them except His Highness the Crown Prince. It was ridiculous. Xiao Changjing, at 17, experienced love for the first time, only to find the other party not only indifferent to him, but repeatedly scheming against him. He initially thought the girl's appearance was a carefully arranged beauty trap to capture his heart. Who knew the other party didn't care about him at all. The only thing she wanted was the evidence he'd risked his life to obtain in Yangzhou, after spending a fortune investigating the illicit paper case. At this time, Shen Shihe was still in Luoyang, chatting with her best friend, Bu Shulin. The legendary gentle and refined Jiaoyang Junzu was actually such a ruthless person. Shen Shihe raised an eyebrow. What? Do you have an objection? Bu Shulin waved her hands quickly. No objection. She gently put down her teacup and said, however, there's one rumor that's true. The Junju's health is frail and requires constant medication. Then, she grinned at Shen Shiha with a silly expression. If young master wants to recover, I just happen to know a divine physician with superb skills. But he only accepts a legendary herb called the Immortal's Peach. Shen Shiha pondered briefly. The Immortal's Peach. She happened to obtain one after being pushed into the river by Huan Linglong. At that time, she even attracted a peculiar phenomenon, a flock of colorful butterflies. What? You have the Immortal's Peach. Then what are we waiting for? There's no time like the present. I'll take you to the divine physician now. Saying this, the energetic Bu Shulin grabbed Shen Shiha and rushed out. Our Bu Jiaojiao is always so efficient when it comes to action. On the carriage to Laojun Mountain, Bu Jiaojiao relayed the latest intelligence to Shen Shiha. Your tactic of hiding in plain sight worked well. Prince Lai lost track of you and ran to Fa Temple to complain to his brother. Shen Shiha was puzzled. Fa Temple. Why would Prince Shen be at Fa Temple? Bu Jiaojiao lifted the curtain and asked, don't you know? Ever since Prince Shen, Xiao Changqing's wife, Jiyu Qingji, passed away, he killed all of the Jiyu family's enemies and went to Fa Temple to offer incense day and night at his wife's memorial. Hearing this, Shen Shiha was slightly shocked because she was the reborn soul of Jiyu Qingji. Hearing that her former husband had done so much for her, she sighed lightly. Prince Shen is quite devoted. However, at this moment, she didn't have many feelings for Jiyu Qingji. She was busy studying the Immortal's Peach, finding herself possessing Jiyu Qingji's skills in perfume making and poison crafting. Combined with Shen Zihe's memories of battles in Shibei, she even felt that Jiyu Qingji's soul had merged with hers. Perhaps Jiyu Qingji no longer cared for this world. She told herself, in this world, there was no longer Jiyu Qingji, only Jiaoyang Junzu, Shen Shiha. Shen Zihe's eyes narrowed. It seems I need to prepare for Prince Shen's next move. Prince Lai, Xiao Changjing, was Prince Shen's younger brother. His investigation of the illicit paper case in Yangzhou was paving the way for Prince Shen. Today, she truly offended not only Prince Lai, but with this, Shen Shiha had essentially declared war on both Xiao brothers. At this time, within the serene Fa Temple, surrounded by Buddhist statues and incense, Xiao Changqing knelt on a prayer mat, seemingly lost in grief. After a while, a faint voice came from behind him. Your Highness, Zhongyi pursued them to Luoyang, but someone intervened, and he returned empty-handed. Xiao Changqing's eyes gradually regained focus. His hoarse voice uttered a single word, sand. The shadow silently retreated. Xiao Changqing took out a palm-sized wooden box from his sleeve and gently opened it. Inside was a small bell token inscribed with 4 characters. Wang Fei Qing Qing. He held the token in his palm, carefully and tenderly. You said your heart went with your mother when she passed away, but do you know? The moment you closed your eyes in my arms, my entire heart was taken away by you too. I know you don't trust me. You don't trust that I would avenge you, that I would resist the Sheng family for you. You never gave me a chance to prove it. A tear rolled down his cheek, and he let out a bitter, self-deprecating laugh. You want me to live, to suffer the coldness of the underworld. You want everyone I care about to be restless. Since this is your final wish, I will fulfill it to appease your spirit in heaven. Prince Shen, worthy of being the most powerful ex-husband, a genius strategist. His every move was precise and deadly, leaving the female lead with no room to fight back. As they were on their way to Laojun Mountain to visit the divine physician, a sudden scream pierced the air, and the carriage jolted violently. The jostled Shen Shiha almost lost her balance. At the same time, the clash of swords echoed from the nearby woods. Hearing the sounds of fighting, the Marshal Bu Jiaojiao was immediately excited. She grinned and said, everyone, watch me. With that, she boldly charged into the fray. Thus, several people began fighting chaotically in the wilderness. Bu Jiaojiao effortlessly took down an opponent with a single move. A swift roundhouse kick sent another flying. Finally, she knocked all the attackers to the ground. Bu Jiaojiao said suspiciously, these people look like a bunch of thugs, not like elite assassins trained by Prince Shen. Thugs they are. Shen Shiha stepped out of the carriage, a wisp of smoke curling from the incense burner in her hand. The ethereal Shen Shiha seemed like a celestial being. First send thugs. If thugs fail, send officials. If the officials succeed, these thugs die, conveniently silencing them. Blame their deaths on bandits, letting the officials use the excuse of bandit suppression to kill us. This is Xiao Changqing's signature style. Jiu Jiajiao was stunned. Are all celestial princes so profound? Pearl, standing beside her, was equally shocked. Then, if anything happens to the Junzu, how can we explain to the Wangye? And the Shunan Wang Shizi is here too. Shen Shihe shook her head slightly. Explain. Jiaoyang Junzu, although not officially married, is known to be the future imperial consort. Now, disregarding her status, she runs off to the wilderness with Shunan Wang Shizi. This conveniently gives them grounds to accuse us of impropriety. This implies collusion between Shibei Wang and Shunan Wang. This move disrupts the military balance. Realizing this was Xiao Changqing's trap, Shen Shihe added, Prince Shen plans meticulously before acting. When he strikes, it's always a foolproof plan. If he becomes emperor, he will surely be a wise ruler. However, now she was Shen Shihe, two souls in one body. Xiao Changqing was destined to be her enemy. There was no right or wrong, only circumstance. Just then, a shout came from afar, and a group of officers rushed towards them. Bandits ahead. Kill without mercy. The situation unfolded exactly as Shen Shihe predicted. Seeing the officers approaching on horseback, Bu Jiajia panicked. What bandits? Don't spout nonsense. Look closely, but the officers, like trained assassins, ignored Bu Jiajia's explanation and attacked directly. Bu Jiajia was about to fight back when she saw a professional soldier charging towards her. Bu Jiajia immediately pushed Shen Shihe away. There are too many of them. You and Pearl run. Pearl was about to pull Shen Shihe away, but in a flash, a soldier raised his saber, about to strike the defenseless Shen Shihe. Pearl screamed, Junzu, watch out. But a clang resonated, and a golden light flashed. Tada! The crown prince, Xiao Changyu, made his entrance incognito. Just as the Junzu was about to be assassinated, a figure in yellow flashed before her eyes. With a swift move, several heads flew into the air under the moonlight, splattering blood everywhere. This display of spiritual power intimidated the remaining officers. The officers stopped their attack. Before they could react, the figure in yellow shielded Shen Shihe and asked in a commanding voice, Imperial embroidered guard on duty. Who are you? The imposing aura startled the officers. It was the Emperor's personal guard, the embroidered guard. The embroidered guard, who acted on the Emperor's direct orders, held military power, and had the authority to deploy troops. They supervised all officials below the third rank, and could directly arrest them. They were a force to be reckoned with. A formidable figure had arrived. The officers, who were ferocious just moments ago, immediately became docile as kittens. They stammered nervously, Embroidered guard, sir, we mean no disrespect. We were ordered to suppress bandits here. The embroidered guard scoffed. Bandits. These people look like young masters and ladies to me. The leading officer's face paled. Just as you said, sir. We received false information. The embroidered guard turned to Shen Shihe. Shen Shihe looked at the increasingly clear face under the mask and froze. A familiar, rich, meaty fragrance wafted into her nostrils. The scent was warm and elegant. It was the scent of top-grade Jiaoluo incense, so expensive that a single ounce was worth more than gold, and it was priceless. How could an embroidered guard afford such luxury? Shen Shihe was lost in thought. The handsome embroidered guard asked, What are your identities? Pearl immediately presented their travel documents. Reporting to you, sir, we were passing through here on our way back to the capital when we encountered these bandits. The embroidered guard glanced through the documents. Beside him, Shen Shihe clearly caught the flicker of a familiar ring on his finger. The embroidered guard, Jiang Wu, handed the documents back to Pearl and said, Get going. You won't make it into the city if you're any later. Then, he leaped onto his horse and galloped away. The officers behind him were filled with awe. Only the Junju's group was puzzled. Why would the embroidered guard, whose duty is within the palace, meddle in civilian affairs and help us? Shen Shihe was also savoring the lingering scent of the premium incense. She vaguely remembered that when she transmigrated into this body, a heavy object fell from the sky. Afterward, she had the Immortal's peach in her hand. Was that person this embroidered guard? This was their second encounter in just a few days. The bewildered Shen Shihe had no idea that the Crown Prince would return tomorrow, in another disguise, to see her. Xiao Changyu, the Crown Prince, was tired of his disguises, but he had to put on another one to pursue the Junzu. The Junzu relied on incense, so how will the Crown Prince reveal himself? The Junzu took the Immortal's peach to see the divine physician, Bai Tu Weng. In Bai Tu Weng's garden, the Junzu looked at the fields of medicinal herbs and flowers. Her heart filled with joy, closing her eyes, enjoying the surrounding fragrance. Suddenly, the Junzu opened her eyes. There was a man radiating golden light, his clothes covered in gemstones, gaudy and tacky. The Junzu was blinded by the golden light, ruining the previously pleasant atmosphere. The divine physician, Bai Tu Weng, introduced the Junzu to him. This man was called Hua Fuhai, known as Hua Tuhao. Tuhao was a slang term, used to describe vulgarly rich people. Hua Fuhai lived up to his name, extravagant and wealthy. As the two exchanged greetings and stood closer, a clear and elegant fragrance drifted to the Junju's nose. It was the scent of Yi He Xiang, but the Junzu detected a faint trace of Duo Jialuo incense within the Yi He Xiang. She couldn't help but look at Hua Fuhai more closely. The Junzu wanted to exchange the Immortal's Peach for Bai Tu Weng's Chu Guden and Bishing Yi Manual. The Junzu said she obtained the Immortal's Peach by chance. Hua Fuhai said he found the Immortal's Peach between cliffs, but he accidentally fell and lost it upon waking up. As they argued, Shen Shiha realized, "Were you the one who fell from the sky that day?" Hua Fuhai's expression changed. "How did you know?" In fact, today was his third encounter with the Junzu. The first time, he was Xiao Changqing, alone in the mountains gathering rare herbs. The second time, he was the embroidered guard, Jiang Wu. The third time, he was the wealthy Hua Fuhai. What a contradictory and unbelievable set of identities. As they continued to argue, Bai Tu Weng suggested they settle it with a chess match. Whoever broke the current stalemate first would get the Chu Guden and Bishing Yi Manual. The Junzu knew he wasn't the real Hua Fuhai. To win, she had to cheat. Sitting in front of the chessboard, the Junzu asked Pearl to bring her invigorating tea. It took her an hour to solve the stalemate, a seemingly simple, but actually intricate puzzle. Hua Fuhai was stunned and amazed. He focused all his attention on solving the puzzle. Suddenly, Hua Fuhai placed a black piece. A crisp clack sounded. Hua Fuhai looked at the Junzu and conceded. "Lady Shen, you win." "It's my loss." Just as Hua Fanghai smugly prepared to remove all the captured white pieces, Princess Chuanxi smiled mysteriously. "Are you sure?" she questioned, her voice like a melodious tune. The princess picked up a white piece. With a faint white glow, the white piece turned black. She placed the piece back onto the board. The seemingly lost game for the white pieces instantly transformed into a complete defeat for the black. Hua Fanghai stared at her in disbelief. He had been wary of Chuanxi using magic to dye the white pieces black, but he never expected her to turn black pieces white. The princess didn't hide her method. She revealed that within the incense burner she held, Pearl had placed black stones coated in fragrant resin. The resin, milky white and subtle, was brushed on thinly and dried over the incense burner. In the game of Go, such tactics aren't considered sophisticated, but they bring satisfaction to one's own side and frustration to the opponent, which is the ultimate goal. Hua Fanghai was completely awed by the princess' intelligence and methods, expressing his heartfelt admiration. Meanwhile, another scheming individual hidden beneath a mask couldn't help but smile. Things were getting increasingly interesting. His Highness the Crown Prince, disguised and unrecognized, had almost failed in his pursuit of the princess. The process had been truly arduous and frustrating. Therefore, he vehemently protested to the author. "Why can the princess recognize me even when I'm in disguise?" Princess Zhao Yangxi was once again mentioned. Without the divine detoxification pill, she would perish within 3 years. Seeking refuge was her only hope for survival. Just now, the princess had won a go match against Hua Fanghai, and obtained the detoxification pill as a prize. Hua Fanghai, still somewhat disgruntled, looked at the princess. "Since the detoxification pill now belongs to you, could you perhaps share the prescription with me?" The princess smiled faintly. Naturally, Hua Fanghai received the prescription for the detoxification pill, combined it with his own medical knowledge, and then presented it to Bai Tu Weng for appraisal. Bai Tu Weng recognized Pearl's artistic talent, and offered to take her on as a student. He also lent his attendant, Qi Yanhuai, to the princess. The moment Qi Yanhuai appeared, the princess recognized him as her former fiancé, Zi Yanhuai. Back then, Zi Yanhuai was a renowned nobleman in the capital, but dissatisfied with the internal power struggles, he left his family, and changed his identity, becoming Bai Tu Weng's attendant. 6 years had passed, his identity and name had changed, but his unwavering character remained, including his concern for the princess. To help the frail princess improve her health, he agreed to accompany her to the capital. He also returned Bai Tu Weng's Immortal's Needle case to the princess. It turned out that Bai Tu Weng didn't need the Immortal's Needle case for alchemy. In his youth, Bai Tu Weng was fascinated by medicine. Upon hearing of any strange illnesses or epidemics, he would travel great distances to offer his medical expertise. Later, Because he often neglected his wife's feelings by leaving to treat others, his wife became furious and left him, declaring that he must retrieve the immortal's needle case before she would forgive him. But now, Bai Chu Weng's wife had passed away. The elderly Bai Chu Weng sought the immortal's needle case, only to fulfill his late wife's wish. Although the princess admired the immortal's needle case and played with it daily, she decided to return it to Hua Fanghai. So she instructed Mo Yuan to ask Hua Fanghai where he found it and return it to its rightful owner. However, the immortal's needle case, gifted to Hua Fanghai, was soon returned by his subordinates. Following Hua Fanghai's instructions, the subordinates claimed the object had fallen from the sky into the prince's hands, and since it was destined for her, he gifted it to her. The princess understood. This was Hua Fanghai's subtle way of earning her favor in the future. This man was truly deep and unfathomable. Meanwhile, somewhere high above, amidst swirling anxieties, Hua Fanghai's disguise was shed. The man, having peeled off a layer of artificial skin, revealed his youthful face. Recalling the day's events, he smiled. To be able to recognize me like that, she's truly perceptive. If I hadn't sensed her intentions, why would the beloved daughter of the Northwest King be so courteous to this merchant? The Crown Prince's subordinates had deliberately arranged this. Since the age of 8, their master had been practicing disguise. Had sought out experts in the art of disguise among the common folk. Even those who had served him since childhood could hardly see through his disguises. The Crown Prince, however, found the Northwest King, Shen Yushan, a rather predictable figure. A stern and serious man, whose son was equally rigid. He hadn't expected his daughter to be so intriguing. Driven by longing, the Crown Prince, donned a disguise and roamed about. Of course, it was to create opportunities to approach the princess. The adorably eccentric Mouse King's son, Bu Jiao Jiao, lay sprawled in his chair, boredly tearing a piece of paper in half. With each tear, he muttered, "Responds to me. Doesn't respond to me." As he continued tearing, Bu Jiao Jiao finally remembered the princess. He abruptly jumped up, his cheeks flushed, his round eyes wide with excitement. A pair of husky ears popped up on his head. Bu Jiao Jiao charmingly presented a cup of tea to the princess, placing his paws on her lap like a kitten. "Sister Chuanxi, didn't you ask me to deliver lemons to the Kang residence? When should I send them?" The princess calmly sipped her tea. "Tomorrow will be fine. They'll be arriving in the capital in 2 days. Shen Shi is returning to declare war. The Kang residence is unaware of the trouble they've gotten themselves into. 14 years ago, a bitter feud began between the Northwest King's family and the Kang residence. Shen Yushan, Shen Shi's father, was injured in the palace, and was then forcibly administered an aphrodisiac by Xiao Shi, a concubine of the Kang residence, and cousin of Yuming Di. Although Xiao Shi was at fault, the royal family, to save face, pressured Shen Yushan to marry her. Shen Yushan felt like he had swallowed a fly, forced to endure the disgust. The news eventually reached the Northwest. The pregnant princess of the Northwest was so distraught that she gave birth prematurely at 8 months. She delivered a sickly daughter, Princess Chuanxi, and then passed away. Thus, Chuanxi not only lost her mother, but was also born with a frail constitution. Grief-stricken and disillusioned, Shen Yushan retreated to the Northwest, never to return to the capital. Yuming Di, however, brazenly established his own residence in the capital, and allowed Xiao Shi to live there openly. From their forced union, Xiao Shi bore Shen Yushan another daughter. The Kang residence's actions were utterly outrageous. Therefore, the princess not only held a grudge against the Kang residence for the recent assassination attempt by Ling Long, but also for the deep-seated hatred stemming from her mother's death. Shen Shi had already sworn an oath to make the Kang residence pay upon his return to the capital. Bu Jiao Jiao, well aware of the feud between the two families, innocently offered, "Sister Chuanxi, don't worry. Leave dealing with the old matriarch of the Kang residence to me. I'll add a few more venomous snakes to her chamber pot." Thinking of this, Bu Jiao Jiao's mischievous heart stirred with anticipation for the exciting drama that would unfold at the Kang residence that night. As expected, that night, shrieks of terror erupted from the Kang residence. The old matriarch's chamber pot was crawling with venomous snakes. Beside her was a chamber pot with a decapitated head covered in melon seeds. Soon, rumors spread throughout the capital. The Kang residence's chamber pots were infested with venomous snakes, scaring the old matriarch to death. Kui Jinbai, one of the 4 great scholars, promptly arrived to investigate. The Kang residence's attempt to conceal this scandal was futile. Last night, Zi Yunhui had treated the frail princess. Today, the princess' appetite had greatly improved, and she was leisurely enjoying her medicinal porridge. Shi Enujibu came to inform Chuanxi that Qui Jinbai was requesting an audience. Why is Qui Jinbai here? Have I already gotten involved in a lawsuit so soon after arriving in the capital? The princess wondered. Soon, a scholar with refined features and a graceful demeanor entered. This official, Qui Jinbai, greets Princess Chuanxi, he announced with a respectful bow. His posture was impeccable, his figure well proportioned, his every movement exuding an elegant charm. Last night, someone infiltrated the Kang residence under the guise of delivering chamber pots. Soon after the pots entered the residence, screams were heard. Someone was tortured to death. The victim was identified as Ling Long, the assassin the princess is pursuing. Maintaining a professional demeanor, Qui Jinbai continued, this official has come to inquire about Ling Long. I hope the princess will cooperate. The princess wasn't particularly interested in dealing with this scholar. She responded indifferently and was about to leave, but her father had instructed her to speak with Qui Jinbai. So, leaving her maid behind, she was about to pass Qui Jinbai when she abruptly stopped. A faint but distinct scent of Dokalo incense emanated from him. 20,000 taels worth of premium Dokalo incense. When did it become so worthless? The crown prince, in disguise, was trying to have a close encounter with the princess. The princess, however, was fuming, determined to peel this scoundrel's skin off. She realized that this man before her had already appeared in numerous guises. Although in her past life, she hadn't been so observant and therefore didn't know what scent Qui Jinbai preferred. She was certain he would never use 20,000 taels worth of Dokalo incense. Qui Jinbai, born into a prestigious century-old family, was known for his frugality. With his upright and disciplined character, the extravagant Dokalo incense didn't fit his personality or status. The disguised crown prince stood ramrod straight, maintaining a composed and respectful posture while the princess stared at him with scrutinizing eyes, her expression questioning. The princess scoffed inwardly. This person can infiltrate not only the embroidered uniform guard, but also the Ministry of Justice, excelling in both martial and literary arts. How could such a capable individual exist? She thought. Why didn't I notice him in my past life? The princess coughed meaningfully and dismissed him. You may leave. Returning to her courtyard, the princess immediately summoned Mo Yuan. Go and investigate where Qui Jinbai has been recently. Mo Yuan mistakenly replied, Isn't Qui Jinbai currently questioning Ziyu? The princess corrected him sharply. Has not Qui Jinbai. Find him for me, now. Once the real Qui Jinbai was found, she would peel the skin off this imposter. An hour later, Mo Yuan returned to report. I've investigated thoroughly. Today, Qui Jinbai left his home for the Ministry of Justice at dawn. He rode directly there, without stopping anywhere along the way. Furthermore, he was accompanied by 2 ministry officials. The princess' face darkened. She had anticipated this outcome even before Mo Yuan left. Stroking her chin, she muttered, so, he was swapped out at home. But who would dare to commit such a brazen act in the residence of someone from such a prestigious family? Could it be that Qui Jinbai willingly allowed this impostor to replace him? The princess turned to Mo Yu. What is he doing now? Mo Yu replied. He's questioning all of the princess servants about their daily routines, how they serve you, and their loyalty to you. The princess' expression remained unchanged. Mo Yu's response was as she expected. Seemingly inquiring about Ling Long, every question revolved around her. This Qui Jinbai used official questioning as a pretext. His composure hadn't aroused suspicion, and her maids had revealed everything. He had extracted a clear picture of her personality from her 4 maids. Why is this man going to such lengths to learn about us? What is his true purpose? Who would have thought that the seemingly gentle princess was secretly planning to skin the crown prince alive? But the infatuated crown prince continued to fall into her traps. The princess added a special incense to her exquisite burner. Then, she summoned Qui Jinbai. Qui Jinbai entered, bowing respectfully. Leaning weakly against the bed, feigning frailty, the princess dismissed all the servants. The door was bolted shut. Only the 2 of them remained in the room. Qui Jinbai was slightly perplexed, unsure what trick the princess was playing. Just as Qui Jinbai was about to speak, the princess covered her mouth and nose with a handkerchief and coughed weakly. I'm frail, young Master Qui. Please have a seat. Everyone in the capital knew of the princess' fragile health, a consequence of the Kang residence's actions. Qui Jinbai walked forward and sat beside the incense burner. A subtle, elegant fragrance wafted from the burner. Qui Jinbai had never encountered such a delicate and refined scent, so he inhaled deeply, unconsciously. The princess chuckled softly. Young Master Qui, as a scholar of the Ministry of Justice, you must be very familiar with the law. I'd like to ask, what is the punishment for impersonating a court official? Although maintaining a composed facade, Qui Jinbai responded, impersonating a court official, the punishment depends on the actions committed. If the impersonator commits malicious acts, they will be severely punished. If they murder an official while impersonating them, regardless of subsequent actions, they will be executed. The princess smiled faintly. She stared intently at Qui Jinbai, then asked softly, "So, young Master Qui, which category do you fall into?" Qui Jinbai paled. "I don't understand what the princess is implying." The princess chuckled. "Young Master Qui, are you feeling dizzy?" Her voice was as light and airy as the moonlight, captivating. Qui Jinbai froze. A sense of foreboding washed over him. He felt something was amiss. He looked up at the exquisite and noble lady before him, but her image began to multiply. Why are there so many princesses? He wondered. He swayed, supporting himself on the table to prevent himself from collapsing. Why am I suddenly feeling dizzy and weak? He thought anxiously. Could it be? The princess approached him, still covering her mouth and nose with the drugged handkerchief. It seems my golden fragrance powder is quite effective, she remarked. Qui Jinbai glanced at the still smoking incense burner, and quickly covered his mouth and nose. The princess' sharp gaze followed the wafting incense, then landed on Qui Jinbai. Hanging, drawing and quartering, beheading. Young Master Qui, which method suits you best? Her gentle demeanor vanished, replaced by a commanding tone. Mo Yu, come and arrest this impostor. But just as she spoke, before Mo Yu could enter, a large hand suddenly reached out and grabbed her. Before the princess could react, she was pulled into a strong embrace. With one hand gripping her chin and the other her wrist, the princess couldn't break free. Mo Yu burst in, drawing his sword. Release the princess. The princess stared wide-eyed at the man holding her captive, utterly bewildered. Are you all right? She couldn't believe he was unaffected. People need to breathe. Incense this potent should be poisonous. How can you? Oh no, His Highness the Crown Prince has taken advantage of the princess. Today's scene is just too exciting. His Highness is embracing the princess from behind, and his disguised voice, as Qui Jinbai begins to change. A prince's thoughts arise. I thought the princess would personally tear off my mask. Thus, I disguised myself and acted as Qui Jinbai. I wanted to kiss the princess when she was happy. But she didn't give me the chance. With a sigh of regret at the end, his voice laced with temptation, his body so close, the princess instantly blushes like a shy rose. Who are you? The princess asks, feigning composure while held in a man's embrace. He chuckles, eyes gleaming with amusement. Lowering his head slightly, he whispers in her ear with a gentle yet suggestive tone, does the princess truly wish to know? But the princess never allows herself to be outdone. Aren't you curious how I discerned your identity? In truth, the crown prince is very curious. How could he not be? He has honed his disguise skills for years to perfection, undetectable even by those closest to him. Yet, this princess saw through him in an instant. So, he replies gently, the princess' intelligence is truly admirable. He pauses, leaning closer, his breath almost brushing against her earlobe. As for who I am, I only reveal that to my future wife. If the princess is willing. He gasps, his teasing words cut short as he feels a sharp pain in his shoulder. The princess has struck him with an acupuncture needle, and instantly breaks free from his hold. Mo Yu arrives swiftly. The crown prince kicks the table over in a panic. The objects on the table fly towards Mo Yu. While he deflects them, the crown prince leaps out the window, stumbling in his escape, his disguise now ruined. Mo Yu starts to pursue, but the princess stops him. No need to chase. As long as he wears his official robes, he is still Shaoqing of Dali Temple. We cannot chase and kill a court official in broad daylight. The princess calmly removes a golden bracelet from her wrist. Its intricate design is hollow, concealing tiny needles. Her brother, Shen Yunan, had commissioned a skilled craftsman to create it for her protection. But Shen Shi finds it a pity. My brother only filled the needles with horse tranquilizer. Why not poison? Meanwhile, the disguised crown prince, or rather, Xiao Huayong, is actually affected by the princess needles. He's merely pretending to be unaffected, otherwise, with his martial arts skills, how could he be so easily hit? He barely manages to escape. The real Qui Jinbai and his guard, Qian Yuan, see the crown prince stumbling and rush to his aid. Qian Yuan quickly steps forward to support him as the crown prince collapses. Your Highness, where does it hurt? I'll summon a physician immediately. The crown prince waves his hand dismissively. Just a little numbness, nothing serious. Then he chuckles softly, she's still a young girl, so pure at heart. Qian Yuan is bewildered. Your Highness is nearly collapsing, yet you praise her pure heart. Is it me who's crazy, or is your Highness blind? But he dares not speak his mind. Xiao Huayong continues, however, for such a life-saving technique, why use tranquilizer and not poison? Qian Yuan's jaw drops. My goodness, you two are truly a match made in heaven. Xiao Huayong addresses the real Kui Jingbai, Xiao Qingqi, His Majesty awaits your report. Just tell him exactly what Kang Wangfu plotted against Princess Jiaoning. Then, a gentle smile graces his lips in becoming more and more curious, more and more captivated. Qian Yuan, beside him, is speechless. Your Highness, are you truly all right? The Crown Prince feigns weakness in public, but behind the scenes, he transforms into a fierce tiger, switching between two faces for his wife. Isn't it tough? Our princess finally arrives in the capital. Her convoy reaches the city gates. They enter the capital through the majestic gates. The arrogant shouts of noble sons and their horses echo behind them. The carriages ahead are expected to yield. It's common for these privileged nobles to disregard rules and laws. But the esteemed princess does not give way. Instead, the arrogant nobleman charges straight at the princess carriage. The princess doesn't tolerate this. As the young man looks on in shock, Mo Yu swiftly kicks the horse, sending it crashing to the ground. The young man on horseback is also thrown off, hitting his head and bleeding profusely, nearly losing his life. A group of elaborately dressed young men and women rush forward. They see a man and his horse on the ground. It's the third young master Ding Yu of Zhenbei Hofu. Zhenbei Hofu's servants immediately rush out, yelling, "Are you blind? How dare you collide with Zhenbei Hofu's third young master?" The princess calmly steps out of her carriage, slaps the servant across the face, and declares, "I can hit even harder. Do you want to see?" Her aura is regal and imposing, her beauty breathtaking, making it hard to look away. The Zhenbei Hofu servants are stunned. How dare she hit someone so arrogant? One of them draws a sword. Not even my father has ever hit me like that. I'll fight you. She lunges at the princess, but before she can get close, Mo Yu flicks his wrist, sending her flying. The princess orders the person who drugged the horse to be taken to Dali Temple. She had already deduced that this incident was a deliberate setup. She detected the scent of basil, which can be used to create a potent drug to agitate horses. So, Zhenbei Hufu's third young master merely lost control of his drugged horse, the goal being to harm the princess during the commotion. With the horse drugged, if the princess had been hurt or killed, even Dali Temple's investigation would have concluded it was an accident caused by Zhenbei Hufu's third young master's recklessness, never tracing it back to Kang Wangfu. Such a cowardly and indirect method doesn't seem like a man's doing. Considering her enemies, the only woman who hates her enough is Xiao Cuiqing, the concubine who tried to climb into her father's bed. Shen Shihe's eyes turn cold. Since Xiao Cuiqing is so eager to make a move, I'll indulge her today. The princess instructs her maid to file a complaint with Xiao Qing of Dali Temple, detailing the incident and publicly appealing to Dali Temple for justice. Xiao Qing of Dali Temple politely assures the princess that he will find evidence and give her a satisfactory explanation. But our princess has her own methods. Possessing the soul of Jiu Qingji, the renowned perfumer of the capital, she is unmatched in her knowledge of scents. Identifying the person who applied the basil to the horse is child's play. She instructs someone to pour a special powder into water. Anyone who touched the basil will cause the water to change color. Even a trace of the powder on their hands will react with the water. Everyone lines up to test their hands. Those innocent are naturally calm and composed. But one person's face turns pale, their hands fidgeting nervously. The princess observes everyone waiting for the test, confirming that only this one person carries the scent of basil. She signals to Mo Yu, "It's him." Mo Yu nods, understanding. He forcefully submerges the suspect's hands into the basin. As expected, the water turns crimson, revealing the truth. The culprit is exposed. It's Ding Ji, the second young master of Zhenbei Hofu. He trembles before the princess. He desperately claims it's an internal conflict within Zhenbei Hofu, insisting he didn't know it was the princess he was targeting, only intending to harm Ding Yu. Faced with Ding Ji's blatant lies, the princess struggles to respond. Just then, her future husband makes a dramatic entrance. A delicate voice calls out from outside, "Is ignorance an excuse for such a crime?" A handsome man, supported by Qian Yuan, slowly approaches. He holds a scroll and wears an official hat. He coughs with every step, looking back repeatedly, as fragile as a leaf in the wind. He enters the hall. The princess turns to face him. He is pale and seemingly frail, but his elegance and noble demeanor cannot be concealed. This is a long-awaited reunion. The crown prince pretends to be frail for the princess. He appears so weak that he might collapse at any moment. He doesn't believe that his act as a delicate flower won't captivate the princess. Just now, Junbei Hufu's second young master, Ding Ji, had tried to harm the princess by drugging a horse. Fortunately, the princess was too clever for him, and his foolish plan failed. At that moment, a clear voice rings out, "Is ignorance an excuse for such a crime?" A handsome man, supported by Qian Yuan, approaches slowly. He holds a scroll and wears an official hat. He coughs with every step, looking back repeatedly, as fragile as a leaf in the wind. Shen Shi sees such perfect blend of strength and gentleness in a man's face for the first time. His handsome features seem to be sculpted by time itself, every detail meticulously crafted. Shen Shi is mesmerized. Who is this? He wears a jade crown, indicating noble status, yet I've never seen him in my past life. While the princess ponders, Xiao Qing of Dali Temple steps forward and bows respectfully. Your greetings, Your Highness, Crown Prince. Others also kneel, showing great reverence. Shen Shi is momentarily stunned. So this is the legendary Crown Prince. This is the man she schemed to marry. It seems I've played right into his hands. The Crown Prince gestures for his guards to help him stand, dabbing his forehead with a handkerchief and coughing weakly. There's no need for formalities. Then, in the softest voice, he delivers the harshest words. Ding Ji attempted to harm the princess, instigating conflict between two noble houses. This cannot be tolerated. HMPH, someone dared to harm my beloved princess. As the dignified crown prince, I will not stand for it. Terrified, Ding Ji falls to his knees, pleading, Your Highness, spare me. The princess looks at the delicate crown prince, puzzled. Why is he speaking up for her? They've never met before, have they? She doesn't yet know that the man, who embraced her yesterday, was this very crown prince. After returning, the crown prince reflected. Since the princess could identify the basil scent, she must be skilled in perfumery, and likely recognized him through his fragrance. Therefore, he changed his usual scent. Hearing Ding Ji's pleas, the seemingly frail and sickly crown prince covers his mouth with his hand and says weakly, Since the victim is the princess, let the princess decide his fate. Upon hearing this, Ding Ji immediately understands. He turns to the princess, kowtowing and begging for forgiveness. The princess is touched. The crown prince not only helped resolve the situation, but also respected her decision on how to deal with Ding Ji. A warm feeling blossoms in her heart. It feels good to be respected, especially since her ex-husband, Xiao Changqing, never treated her this way. Emboldened, the princess addresses Ding Ji, I'm not one to be unreasonable, but I'm not a pushover either. If second young master Ding wants my forgiveness, you must tell the truth. Ding Ji trembles, his face turning pale. Princess, I swear. He raises his hand hesitantly, his eyes filled with fear and uncertainty. Meanwhile, Qian Yuan, the crown prince's guard, issues a chilling warning to Ding Ji. Think carefully. Your life alone is insignificant. But what about your family? If you, their only son, are gone, what will become of your mother and sisters? And after you attempted to harm a member of a noble house today, how will that house treat them in the future? Qian Yuan's words strike Ding Ji's deepest fear, and he breaks down. After a moment of hesitation, he confesses his crime and reveals the mastermind behind the plot. Chen Jin of Zhuanping Hofu. It was Chen Jin who manipulated him into harming the princess. The princess understands instantly. Zhuanping Hofu is Xiao Kuiking's maternal family. As she suspected, today's incident was indeed Xiao Kuiking's doing. The princess asks Ding Ji, You have committed a grave offense. 50 lashes as punishment. Do you accept? Ding Ji immediately straightens up, bows deeply to the princess, and says respectfully, I accept the punishment and thank the princess for her mercy. After the incident is resolved, the officials leave Dali Temple. The princess expresses her gratitude to the crown prince, Thank you, Your Highness, for upholding justice for Zhaoning. As she speaks, she leans closer to the crown prince, noticing a faint fragrance emanating from him. The crown prince is elated that the princess is speaking to him. He smiles gently. The princess has traveled a long way from the northwest. How could I let the princess suffer injustice and disappoint the northwest soldiers? He gently supports the princess, and the sudden contact makes her blush slightly. She thinks, Isn't he a bit too touchy? But since he helped her, she can't be rude. So, she says politely, this journey has been tiring. Please allow Zhaoning to return to her residence. I will enter the palace tomorrow to formally thank your highness. The crown prince beams, seemingly misunderstanding her politeness. Then I shall await your arrival at the Eastern Palace tomorrow. The princess' lips twitch. She was just being polite, and this delicate crown prince took it seriously. He seems clever, but he doesn't read social cues well. Like a fool. The princess bids him farewell and leaves. Watching the princess' retreating figure, the crown prince smiles foolishly. Qian Yuan gently tugs at his sleeve and whispers, Your Highness, your actions were a bit too forward. What if the princess misinterprets it as disrespect? Qian Yuan thinks his master is too eager, which might make the princess wary. Even if you're overjoyed, you must take it slow. Let the princess see how wise and benevolent your highness truly is. But the crown prince chuckles softly. I have my reasons. I don't like people who are too clever. The princess will eventually entrust her life to me. If I appear too intelligent, she might find me difficult to handle and keep her distance. Here's the embodiment of a strong female lead. Ruthless, cunning, and powerful, countless readers find his cunning schemes too few and demand more. Today, upon arriving in the capital, the prince's first priority is to visit the northwest Wangfu, bestowed by the emperor, and settle the score with Xiao Cuiqing, that hateful concubine. Xiao Cuiqing is the concubine who tried to seduce the northwest Wang over a decade ago, and is now the de facto mistress of the household. Previously, Xiao Cuiqing pushed Shen Shihi down the stairs and later attempted to poison her during a hunting trip. Not to mention Xiao Cuiqing's role in causing her mother's miscarriage. These two assassination attempts alone are enough for Shen Shihi to never forgive her. At this moment, in the garden of the northwest Wangfu, Xiao Cuiqing is leisurely feeding the fish. Shen Shihi walks towards her, her gaze cold. Who allowed you to live in the main courtyard? Only the rightful mistress is qualified to reside here. You, a lowly concubine, how dare you act as the mistress? She then orders Mo Yu, throw her out. Xiao Cuiqing is shocked. You dare? I'm the emperor's niece. Mo Yu, skilled in martial arts, swiftly steps forward, grabs Xiao Cuiqing, and forces her to kneel on the ground. The princess' gaze is as sharp as a blade. Why wouldn't I dare? Just as Mo Yu drags Xiao Cuiqing out of the garden, a figure leaps out from the shadows and attacks Mo Yu with a sword. Fortunately, Mo Yu anticipates the attack and deflects the blow with his own sword, a clang echoing through the air. The newcomer is Mo Yuan, the princess guard. His expression is grim as he exchanges blows with the assassin, each strike deadly. Their fight defies gravity, escalating into an aerial battle above the rooftops. The princess realizes why Xiao Cuiqing acted so boldly in front of her. She had a hidden guard protecting her. Meanwhile, the unfortunate Xiao Cuiqing is being dragged away like a chicken by Mo Yu. Shen Shihi, you have no respect for your elders. Xiao Cuiqing screams, accusing the princess of disrespect. Mo Yu ignores her, continuing to drag her away. Elders. The princess looks down at Xiao Cuiqing condescendingly. I am the Princess Jiaoning, officially recognized by His Majesty. You're merely my father's concubine. I can overlook your disrespect towards me, but don't you dare lecture me about respecting elders. Xiao Cuiqing glares at her venomously. You're a princess. I'm also an officially recognized princess by His Majesty. I'm His Majesty's niece. Oh, really? The princess nods slowly. Mo Yu, she's not a concubine of Northwest Wangfu. Throw her out of the manor. Since you claim to be a princess of Kang Wangfu, go back to Kang Wangfu. Don't disgrace yourself here in Northwest Wangfu. With the princess' order, Mo Yu drags Xiao Cuiqing away. Just then, a delicate young lady runs over, crying, Elder sister, please have mercy. She kneels before the princess and pleads tearfully. The princess glances at her. Isn't this Shening Ruo, the daughter born to Xiao Cuiqing and her father. Shening Ruo has always been kind, and the princess has a good impression of her. Shen Shihi doesn't intend to make things difficult for her. Don't beg me. Beg your mother. She claims to be the emperor's niece, then she's not part of the Shen family, and has no right to occupy the main courtyard. My father is wise. I'm sure he won't blame me for throwing out such a shameless guest. Mo Yu continues to drag Xiao Cuiqing away. Xiao Cuiqing's face contorts in anger. With a thud, Xiao Cuiqing's chest hits the ground, her body slamming against the hard surface. Princess Consort Shu and her entourage walked towards the main gate. Sayu, hands on her hips, declared loudly, this matter concerning the divine doctor's estate is urgent. 4 years, they've occupied the main courtyard. Only upon returning today did my mistress realize this. Now that mistress has ordered him to move out, not only does he refuse to repent, but he also dares to claim that our mistress, born of the Duke's main wife, is less noble than him. Upon hearing this, the onlookers erupted in an uproar. Isn't he just a servant? How dare he disrespect the Duke's legitimate daughter? The crowd pointed and glared at Sayu, filled with indignation yet helpless. Meanwhile, inside a carriage around the corner, the Crown Prince, who was supposed to be recuperating, was secretly observing Princess Consort Shu. Lowering the carriage curtain slightly, his eyes twinkled with amusement. Truly worthy of being the woman I admire. Witnessing the same scene, Eunuch Qian's expression froze. Princess Consort's methods are truly ruthless. He stammered, Princess Consort, she is so formidable. Eunuch Qian's mind raced. Princess Consort is so fierce. If she marries into the Eastern Palace, will she bully His Highness? He was already picturing 100 scenarios of the Crown Prince being henpecked. However, the Crown Prince hadn't considered this at all. His eyes held only admiration and tenderness for Princess Consort Shu. He softly said, this is just the beginning. The Crown Prince dropped the curtain, a gentle smile gracing his lips. Let's return to the Eastern Palace. Send someone to Mount Zhongnan to fetch spring water. Brew the Princess Consort a pot of fine tea as a welcome. Princess Consort Z is too fierce. She just threw her father's concubine out of the residence, and now she is about to throw out the Marquis' son too. Princess Consort Z's reputation for being a fierce tigress has spread throughout the capital. The noble families all know that our Princess Consort isn't someone to be trifled with. They are all warning their children, behave yourselves when you see the Princess Consort. At this time, inside the residence, Yazi and Biyu were helping Princess Consort Shu with her makeup. Sayu, looking anxious, said while applying makeup, Princess Consort, they are clearly trying to torment you mentally by isolating you. Princess Consort Shu, however, remained indifferent to the rumors about her fierceness. She chuckled coldly, isolate me. Have you ever seen wolves and dogs together? Or foxes and rabbits traveling as companions? She picked up a rose, adding, from now on, their invitations will all be refused. Even if I were frail and couldn't handle the drama, we're not the same kind of people. There's no need to waste time on them. Besides, just as she finished speaking, Wu Jiaojiao suddenly barged in, little sister. Look, I've captured the bad guy for you. Princess Consort Shu looked down and saw Bu Jiaojiao dragging a man whose face was swollen like a pig's head. The pig head was bawling his eyes out, wailing, Princess Consort. Then he abruptly kowtowed towards her. Princess Consort, I was wrong. I'm a pig. Worse than a pig. Although the man was beaten beyond recognition, Shen Shi still recognized him. It was Chen Jing, the Di son of the Zhuanping Marquis estate. The same scoundrel who had tried to accost her on the street. Bu Jiaojia winked, little sister, if you're not satisfied, I can continue. Just say the word. Chen Jing, hearing this, shuddered in terror. Any more beating, and he'll be crippled, if not dead. Princess Consort Shu, however, showed no emotion. She said indifferently, throw him out. Don't dirty my courtyard. Bu Jiaojiao immediately understood. Yes, milady. She grabbed Chen Jing, dragged him to the gate, and yelled, Heave-ho. He kicked Chen Jin flying out the door like a turtle, shocking the onlookers. This was the second time the Wang Manor had thrown someone out today. Wu Jiaojiao clapped her hands, then slandered Chen Jin. This little pervert broke into my house while only Jiao Ru and I were home. He clearly had ill intentions. Wu Jiaojiao's words immediately incited the crowd. The righteous masses began to pelt the stunned Chen Jin with rotten vegetables and eggs. After the deed was done, Bu Jiaojiao skipped all the way to the princess' residence, eager to boast about her exploits. The princess, who had already prepared tea and snacks, smiled gently at Bu Jiaojiao. Sit down. Bu Jiaojiao's eyes lit up, and she happily ran inside. She plopped down on a seat without hesitation. However, seeing the tea in front of her, her face paled. She clearly remembered the punishment after drinking tea last time. Feeling apprehensive, she asked, No. No tea. The princess' smile deepened. No tea. You did nothing wrong. Bu Jiaojiao cautiously asked, You don't think I'm meddling this time? The princess chuckled. Not at all. Bu Jiaojiao took a large sip of tea, relieved. The princess knew she was acting on her behalf. After all, the incident with Zhuan Tinghao's son had already caused bad blood between them. There was no way this matter could end peacefully. Bu Jiaojiao put down her teacup and gazed at the princess' thoughtful face. Shika, how about you marry me? Then, her tone shifted to a playful one. Marrying me would be great. I'd take you across the northwestern pastures, through the plateau canyons wherever you want to go. I can accompany you, protect you, and stay with you. The princess paused. Young master, if you dare ask his majesty for my hand, I dare accept. These words silenced Bu Jiajiao. They both knew it was impossible to ask the emperor for the princess' hand. Not because Bu Jiajiao was a woman, but because the two powerful families, once united, would surely alarm the emperor. Bu Jiajiao looked up, her eyes slightly cold. The world envies royalty, but they don't know how pitiful those trapped within it are. Suddenly, the princess took away her teacup. Why let yourself be burdened by such thoughts? You know the commoners' struggles, but you don't know that they envy us too. They envy us for having tutors, and even break into our gardens because of jealousy. Born into nobility, we should be grateful. As for the path ahead, if it's intertwined with economics, it will grow. Jiu Jiao looked at Shen Shihe, sensing a unique tenacity and calmness. Even speaking with him felt inspiring. Jiu Jiao smiled faintly, I've learned much. As Ling left, he felt a tinge of regret. How could he know if Shihe would ever be his? Suddenly, Jiu Jiao intensely desired to marry the princess in the future. This crown prince excels at playing the delicate, pitiful flower, sowing seeds of innocence and fragility. He not only constantly recites chaste phrases to the princess, but also subtly manipulates her kindness. After the crown prince's green tea act yesterday, the princess finally remembered to visit him at the East Palace. Her initial offer to pay respects was mere courtesy. However, the green tea prince eagerly accepted, saying, "I'll await you." Thus, the princess felt obligated to go through the motions. Princess Sun Hui had just reached the East Palace gates when she saw the crown prince waiting, radiating gentle affection, looking like he was nervously wringing his hands. Seeing the elegant and handsome prince he had longed for, the crown prince's gentle eyes instantly lit up. He no longer needed to feign anxiety. The crown prince's legs seemed to have wheels, as he zipped over to Princess Ching Ching. Just as he was about to reach her, he dramatically coughed, then straightened up, transforming into a delicate damsel, his green tea-laced voice tinged with an almost imperceptible grievance. You came. I thought you wouldn't. I was worried sick. The elegant and noble princess lips twitched at his words. Recalling her past life marriage to the crown prince's brother, she amusedly pictured herself and the crown prince as Pan Jinlian seducing Wusong, except she was Wusong and he was Pan Jinlian. Thinking of how he had helped her, she felt a little grateful. Maintaining her composure, the princess greeted, "Greetings, your highness." Before she could curtsy, the crown prince hastily helped her up. No need for formalities. As if glued to her sleeve, the crown prince's hand lingered. The princess blushed slightly, thanking him as she subtly withdrew her sleeve. Cough, cough. The icy prince, seemingly having run too fast, erupted into a coughing fit, as if trying to cough out a lung. The guard, Qian Yuan, hurriedly said, "Your highness, please speak inside." Startled, the crown prince turned and walked into the palace. The princess was speechless. She had intended a quick visit, but now had to engage in conversation. A bead of sweat trickled down her forehead. Since she was here, she might as well stay. She couldn't argue with someone so obviously playing a role. They crossed a courtyard, arriving at a clear lake. Gazing at the golden mandarin oranges on the trees, the princess asked, "Is this the mandarin terrace?" The crown prince paused, clearing his throat theatrically. "Princess, your observation is keen. At night, the terrace is illuminated, a sight to behold. Perhaps, if there's a chance, I could invite you to admire the night view together." The crown prince added a suggestive smile, prompting wild imaginings. The prince's heart pounded, a flicker of amusement within. This guy's intentions were too obvious. As a lady, she shouldn't linger in the palace. How could she stroll in the garden with the crown prince at night? She looked at him inquiringly, but the crown prince's gaze was so pure, it made anyone suspicious feel guilty. Thus, the princess could only politely decline. "Thank you for your kindness, your highness." The crown prince's expression fell, visibly heartbroken. He clutched his chest pathetically, seeking comfort. The guard, Qian Yuan, could only pat his shoulder reassuringly. Silently pleading, "Please don't cry, your highness." The crown prince didn't know that the princess saw him as a delicate, pampered young man, possessing the arrogance of royalty, but lacking the composure. Still, he was much better than her ex-husband from her past life. Recovering his composure, the crown prince invited the princess for tea and snacks. "Princess, please have some tea. I prepared it myself. I hope you don't mind." Accepting the cup with both hands, the princess took a sip. Your Highness is skilled in tea preparation. This is the best tea I've ever tasted. The Crown Prince sighed. I suffered a severe illness in my youth, leaving me frail. I couldn't match my brothers in academics or martial arts. Even when the Emperor taught us martial arts, I always held back my brother's progress. I felt inadequate, so I gave up on those pursuits. My only solace over the years has been my love for tea. I've gained some insights into it. He spoke with a wistful smile. The princess, however, detected a hint of loneliness in his sincere smile. To like someone means liking everything about them, even their words. Sensing the Crown Prince's sadness, the princess' heart softened. She felt a flicker of connection. Her voice gentle, she comforted, academics and martial arts are not necessary for a royal prince. Like yourself. These things will be brought to you. Hearing her comforting words, the Crown Prince's eyes brightened. He felt a closer connection with the princess. Joy surged within him. Princess, you're the first to say such kind words to me. The princess smiled. Perhaps they were kindred spirits. Both frail, both yearning for unattainable things, both fond of flowers and plants. Kindred spirits. The Crown Prince's heart silently mocked the princess. You were born noble. What ill intentions could this beautiful princess have? She simply wished to climb to the top, even if it meant stepping on others. The princess only wanted to marry the short-lived Crown Prince to secure her position as Empress Dowager in the future. But the Crown Prince, blinded by infatuation, was deeply in love. The Crown Prince invited the princess to enjoy tea and snacks in the courtyard. They chatted merrily. Suddenly, the supposedly ill Crown Prince asked, Princess, how do you suggest I handle the evidence you provided? The princess paused. She knew he was referring to the evidence of King Lai's conspiracy, obtained through a dangerous mission in Yangzhou. Lai Wang Xiaochangiying, while being pursued for investigating the Yangji case, was saved by the talented Zhu. While Xiaochangiying was severely injured and unconscious, Zhu seized the evidence related to the Yangji case and its complex background, sending them to the Crown Prince. Looking at the inquiring Crown Prince, Zhu thought, does he overthink things? She felt that she couldn't understand him, wondering if he was truly unfathomable. The Crown Prince nodded casually, his smile as warm as sunlight. He said to Zhu, compared to my brothers, I may not be the smartest, but am not foolish. Since you saved Xiaochangiying, I naturally assume you fabricated the evidence. Zhu smiled faintly and asked probingly, doesn't your Highness think him scheming, trying to sow discord between you and Lai Wang? The Crown Prince shook his head. What ill intentions could you have? Inwardly, he thought, my dear Zhu merely wants to marry well and rise to the top, even if it means using me. Our dear Zhu was unaware that her thoughts were transparent to the cunning Crown Prince. The Crown Prince continued, exuding charisma, I know Zhu is ambitious and unwilling to compromise. You're the first in years to show genuine concern for me. The Crown Prince in name only. I'll do my utmost to reciprocate your regard. Zhu, a skilled perfumer, detected the agreeable scent of the Crown Prince. She furrowed her brows slightly and asked, Your Highness, are you content? The Crown Prince, feigning illness, leaned back, a hint of melancholy in his expression. He said theatrically, Heaven has not favored me. I'm a sickly person. It's better to cherish the present than to chase elusive desires. The theatrical Crown Prince was putting on another act of self-deprecation. I don't fight for power, not because I'm incompetent. Otherwise, how could the evidence you entrusted to me still be safe? The Crown Prince mentally gave himself an award for his performance. He thought he had performed well before Zhu. If she knew his vulnerability, she might be unwilling to marry him. As he expected, Zhu was moved, thinking this was truly the will of heaven. She bowed deeply, my life is in your Highness' hands. I entrust everything to you. The Crown Prince smiled inwardly, surprised by her guardedness. Her composure impressed him. Despite his thoughts, he maintained a gentle facade, I'll speak to my second brother. He's upright and won't mistreat you. After further conversation, Zhu excused herself, as it was getting late. The guard, Qian Yuan, escorted Zhu out of the palace. Upon returning, he asked, why did you deceive Zhu, your Highness? Qian Yuan didn't understand why the Crown Prince lied to Zhu about needing to be frank with each other. He worried what Zhu would do if she discovered the truth. The Crown Prince, no longer feigning weakness, had shed his disguise. Recalling their interaction, he smiled, my deception was harmless. We both pretend to be understanding. Neither of us is sincere. We're both acting. The difference is, I know my script, but she may believe my pretense. The Crown Prince smiled enigmatically, Qian Yuan, a wolf wanting to eat a sheep disguises itself as the sheep's favorite grass. The ultimate deception is becoming what the prey desires. Meanwhile, Junzu, back at the Northwest Palace, pondered the Crown Prince's words. She found him comforting, neither foolish nor verbose, gentle yet decisive. She believed if she captivated him, he would pave her path to power. The Crown Prince perfectly suited her ambition. Everything seemed to be going too smoothly, which worried her. This unsettling smoothness felt like a deceptive dream. She needed to observe the Crown Prince further. Junju's popularity among the princes was well known. The gentle Crown Prince admired her from afar. The passionate Lai Wang ardently pursued her. Yet, Junzu rejected Lai Wang, humiliating him. The enraged Lai Wang regretted having such a fierce daughter. Upon returning to the Northwest Palace, Junzu detected a familiar scent, dragon brain incense. She wondered why this scent, which she associated with only one person, was in her room. It seemed an old acquaintance was hiding there. With her keen sense of smell, Junzu discreetly lit her own incense. She pretended to embroider, patiently waiting. Moments later, a muffled sound came from the ceiling. Someone could no longer hold on. Suddenly, a figure fell from above, possibly from the ceiling. A man, tumbling down, narrowly avoided the falling debris. It was Xiao Changying. Seeing Xiao Changying weakening, Junzu stepped forward. She said calmly, "Lai Wang, my residence is not a place you can enter as you please." Xiao Changying struggled to stay upright. Junju's figure blurred before his eyes. He roared, "Shen Shihe, when did you poison me?" He then collapsed. Moyu asked, "Junzu, what should we do with him?" Shen Shihe said indifferently, "Strip him and leave him at the entrance of the 16 Princes' residence." The 16 Princes' residence was where the princes lived. A naked Xiao Changying left, there would be a humiliating spectacle. As Moyu approached Xiao Changying suddenly sprang up. He dodged Moyu's attack and lunged at Junzu. "Shen Shihe, you won't humiliate me." But Junzu remained unmoved. In a flash, she flicked her wrist. A thin needle shot out from a hidden mechanism in her bracelet. It struck Xiao Changying's arm with pinpoint accuracy. His sword clattered to the floor. Within seconds, Xiao Changying lost control of his limbs. He broke out in a cold sweat, his head spinning. Weakened by the incense, he was now defenseless. Junzu walked towards him. "Should have surrendered earlier." Xiao Changying gritted his teeth. "You really intend to leave me at the prince's residence entrance?" Junju's gaze was cold. "I don't bluff." She leaned close, her breath warm on his face. "I just visited the Crown Prince, and you're already here. You suspect something happened between us, don't you?" Xiao Changying flushed, his thoughts exposed. Junzu smiled faintly, turning away. "I know what you princes think. You're all afraid to court me, yet you don't want me to marry another. I don't have time to teach each of you a lesson, but since you're here, I'll make an example of you." As she finished, Xiao Changying collapsed unconscious. The next day, news of Lai Wang being stripped and left at the prince's residence spread throughout the capital. Rumors spread quickly, embellished with each telling. The final version claimed Lai Wang had tried to peek at the beautiful Junzu and was caught. These rumors piqued curiosity about Junju's appearance, while further solidifying her formidable reputation. Though born of noble blood, she had humiliated the emperor's cousin, and the marquis's son. Now, even the emperor's son had been stripped naked. Who would dare offend her? The noble-looking sixth prince harbored dark thoughts. He had fallen for a musician, but her low status prevented her from becoming his consort. To make her his, he devised a plan. To marry the sickly Jianing Junzu and then eliminate the crown prince. Meanwhile, in the Northwest Palace, the unsuspecting Junzu continued her routine. Qianyuan, the crown prince's attendant, arrived with pastries. "Junzu," he said cheerfully, "the crown prince sends these. He wishes to dine with you when he recovers." Junzu, concerned, asked, "What's wrong with his highness?" Qianyuan, having learned from the crown prince, began to embellish. "This morning, the sixth prince angered his highness, and now the crown prince is resting." Qianyuan, playing his part, used the crown prince's supposed illness to garner Junju's sympathy. Princess Junzu obediently took the bait offered by the crown prince. She thought, since she had accepted the gift, and the crown prince had even vomited blood because of the sixth prince, she had to visit the Eastern Palace to inquire about the matter. Soon, our elegant Junzu, accompanied by her maid, arrived at the Eastern Palace. But at the gate, they saw a peculiar person. It was the sixth prince, Xiao Changyu. Due to his martial lineage, Xiao Changyu exuded a fierce charisma. Even standing under the scorching sun, he radiated a masculine vigor. Junju's maid exclaimed, "So the sixth prince is so handsome." Princess Junju's expression remained calm. The imperial sons are all graceful and talented. This capital has no shortage of handsome and distinguished men. After speaking, she entered the crown prince's quarters, guided by the guard, Xiao Qianyuan. The sickly crown prince, upon hearing that his beloved Princess Junzu had arrived, immediately sat up. Junzu, with her sharp senses, smelled the scent of medicinal soup as soon as she entered. The smell almost made her choke. She took several inconspicuous steps back before composing herself. His Highness the Crown Prince pretended to be unaware of her arrival and feigned surprise. Junzu, why are you here? He asked with a carefully modulated voice, eyes widening. In the next moment, tears welled up in his eyes, and he reached out with both hands as if to grab Junzu, seemingly too agitated to speak. Then he started coughing weakly. Xiao cough cough. Xiao Changyu is not a good person. Junzu, be careful. Xiao Qianyuan secretly scoffed in his heart. It seems like the least trustworthy person here is you, Your Highness. Listening to the Crown Prince's dramatic performance, a large drop of sweat slid down Junju's forehead. She had anticipated what the Crown Prince might say, but she never expected him to start by criticizing Xiao Changyu. The Crown Prince seemed to have exhausted himself after saying this and weakly leaned back. Junzu calmly inquired, how did His Highness suddenly vomit blood? Xiao Qianyuan chimed in, playing along with his master's act. It's all because of the sixth prince. Yesterday, shortly after Junzu left, he sent someone to invite His Highness to a polo match. Junju's expression shifted. The Crown Prince was frail and even walking required extra care. Inviting him to a polo match was clearly a deliberate jab at his weakness. The Crown Prince put on a wronged expression. He didn't actually want me to watch the match. He clearly wanted to use the polo match as an excuse to get close to Junzu. Today, I specifically called him to the Eastern Palace to ask him why he would try to pursue Junzu when he already has someone he cares for. Junzu was speechless. So this idiot specifically called the sixth prince here for a fight and ended up vomiting blood instead. But then she thought, who is the woman the sixth prince cares for? She followed the Crown Prince's lead and feigned weakness. Is it Gongsun Wuji's granddaughter? Junzu nodded as if she understood. The daughter of the Guan family, both wealthy and powerful. Unfortunately, her grandfather committed a serious crime and became a convict. However, relying on her own talent, she rose from the depths of despair. Now she works in a teaching house. Xiao Changyu can take her as a concubine, but if he wants to marry her, he has to restore his family's honor. Only after his family's name is cleared can he make her his wife. Thinking about this, Junzu smiled knowingly. She finally understood why the Crown Prince had gone to such great lengths to warn her. Junzu bid farewell to the Crown Prince and went to the Eastern Palace gate to meet Xiao Changyu. She walked towards Xiao Changyu, who was still standing under the scorching sun. Sixth Prince, do you know what Xiao Jiao looks like? I like to have everyone under my thumb, but I hate being used. You want to take me as a concubine, wait for my death, and then elevate Xiao Jiao to the position of wife. You wish. Xiao Changyu's pupils constricted. He hadn't expected his scheme to be exposed by Junzu. Junzu brushed past Xiao Changyu. Sixth Prince, I have a question for you. Should I kill Xiao Jiao myself, or should you do it? Time is of the essence. The prince's voice was clear as ice, and a chill ran down Xiao Changyu's spine. This scheming older woman, known as Little Aunt, had seduced Prince Shuai by using aphrodisiacs. As the daughter of a prince, Junzu would never allow this madness to continue. Not long ago, Shen Xianjiang, the troublesome woman, had been expelled from the prince's mansion to prevent Little Aunt from causing further trouble. Junzu planned to confront her directly. That day, after obtaining permission from the Crown Prince and the Empress Dowager, Junzu went to Jianfu Temple. A nun was arranging Buddhist scriptures for a noblewoman. Junzu looked at the noblewoman and softly called out, Luo Caifei. It turned out that this person was Yu Xiaodai, the concubine of Prince Kang. Yu Xiaodai looked at Junzu warily. Who are you? Junzu stroked her chin and approached the noblewoman. Who I am isn't important. What's important is who you are. Should I call you Luo Caifei, or Yu Xiaodai? Yu Xiaodai's face paled. How do you know my name? Junzu didn't answer her question. Instead, she directly spoke about her past. 10 years ago, you were taken in by Prince Kang. You climbed from obscurity to the position of concubine. Your smooth journey must have been helped by the skills you learned in Yangzhou, right? Yu Xiaodai shuddered. How did this young woman know her secrets? It turned out that after learning about the background of the incense case from Prince Lai, Xiao Changjing, Junzu specifically investigated the matters related to Prince Kang's mansion. She learned that concubine C of Prince Kang's mansion, like Yang Ji, was from Yangzhou's Shouma, an organization that trained women to seduce court officials. Now that the incense-burning case had been thoroughly investigated by Prince Lai, Xiao Changjing, the court was going to arrest everyone involved. Yu Xiaodai, who was connected to the incense case, naturally wouldn't escape. Junju's expression was calm as she slowly uttered words that struck fear into Yu Xiaodai's heart. If you want to live, I can help you. Yu Xiaodai's face was deathly pale. What do you want me to do? Junzu smiled faintly. I want to know what treasonous acts Prince Kang has committed. Yu Xiaodai's heart skipped a beat. Helpless, she began to weigh the pros and cons. As Prince Kang's concubine, her fate was tied to his, but if her identity as a member of Shouma was revealed, Prince Kang would certainly not protect her. If she didn't offend the person in front of her, she might have a chance to live. But if she offended her, she would die immediately. After a brief hesitation, Yu Xiaodai gritted her teeth and decided to betray Prince Kang. I know that since 2 years ago, Prince Kang has been privately stockpiling gunpowder. Yu Xiaodai, fearing for her life, anxiously asked, how will you save me? Junzu stated impassively, if you want to live, you'll need to fake your death. ISNT They're gathering at Prince Kang's mansion today. Spread a rumor that Xiao Zhao is jealous. These old servants are her confidants. Xiao Qianyuan immediately understood Junju's intention. Junzu wanted her to go to Xiao Zhao, let Xiao Zhao kill her, and then fake her own death. This way, the court would no longer pursue her. After the two reached an agreement, Yu Xiaodai, that very night, drew a map of the route to Prince Kang's gunpowder storage location and gave it to Junzu. Junzu, in turn, gave her a type of incense that could confuse the senses, to help her deal with Xiao Zhao. After Yu Xiaodai spread the rumor that Xiao Zhao was jealous of the gathering, the little aunt, who had been thrown out of Prince Zibei's mansion, was indeed identified as the jealous one. But little aunt wasn't stupid. She knew exactly what was going on, so that night, she rolled up her sleeves and went to confront Yu Xiaodai. Little aunt burst through the door. You, Luo Caifei. You're the one spreading rumors and calling me jealous. Little aunt started cursing at Yu Xiaodai. How dare you provoke me? You're asking for it. Yu Xiaodai retorted, aren't you jealous? Yu Xiaodai pushed away Xiao Zhao's grasping hands and whispered in little aunt's ear, look how much you've embarrassed the mansion. As a member of the imperial family, you rely on aphrodisiacs to seduce men, and you were even thrown out of the mansion. You're shameless enough to come back. Insulted, Yu Xiaodai's continuous barrage of words enraged little aunt. She felt like exploding. Little aunt lost control, pulled out a golden hairpin from her hair, and screamed, I'll kill you. Little aunt, already driven to the brink of madness by Junju's plan, had completely lost her reason. She grabbed the hairpin and stabbed it fiercely towards Yu Xiaodai's chest. Yu Xiaodai used all her strength to push her away. Get away, you crazy woman. Then Yu Xiaodai pushed little aunt, sending her flying. When little aunt finally woke up, Yu Xiaodai was lying on the ground, motionless. At that moment, a nun entered the room and witnessed the horrific scene. She screamed in terror, murder. Murder. The matter had escalated. Prince Kang, eager to cover up the incident, sent the innocent Xiao Zhao to prison. The real Yu Xiaodai had already been secretly swapped out by Mo Yu using a corpse. After the swap, they set fire to the room. In the early morning, outside the city, Junzu gave Yu Xiaodai, who had escaped death, a bag. Inside are new identity documents and some money. After you leave, you will no longer be the trained courtesan from Yangzhou, nor will you be Prince Kang's concubine. You will have a new identity, a new life. Yu Xiaodai took the bag and bowed deeply to Junzu in gratitude. Then she turned and left without hesitation. After she was gone, Junzu took out a small bottle of medicine and instructed Mo Yu to put it into Xiao Zhao's food in prison. Mo Yu asked in a low voice, Junzu, wouldn't it be better to let Xiao Zhao suffer in prison? Junju's expression was cold and firm. As long as someone is alive, there are variables. Only death brings finality. Ever since she started taking the Jiaoyang elixir, our heroic crown prince had become increasingly listless. Junzu was born with a weak constitution and deficient internal organs. Zi Yinhuai had her drink white plum snow water and take the highly effective bone-strengthening elixir. But the bone-strengthening elixir was potent. Junju's frail body had to endure the excruciating pain of bone and flesh being torn apart. Today, Junzu was in so much pain that she was almost unconscious. She felt like her body was being torn apart by two opposing forces. Zi Yinhuai held her tightly, allowing Junzu to bite his hand to endure the pain. Though in excruciating pain, the princess endured, determined to overcome her illness. Only then could she, like Adi and her brother, roam freely and unrestrained. After Zi Yinhuai settled the princess down and returned to his courtyard in the capital, he found someone waiting there. It was none other than His Highness the Crown Prince, our resident invalid. Surprisingly, the Crown Prince wasn't playing the frail, innocent rabbit this time. Head dropped the act. I hear you have a jade prescription that can alleviate the pain the princess suffers when taking the bone-eroding pill. Zi Yinhuai paused. Indeed, Your Highness, but it lacks a crucial ingredient. Top-grade Qianshan snow lotus. This flower blooms only atop the snow-capped mountains. I've already offered a reward for its retrieval. Hearing this, the Crown Prince smiled knowingly. I will personally retrieve the Qianshan snow lotus, he said, his dark eyes fixed on Zi Yinhuai. However, I must remind you, she is mine. Zi Yinhuai smiled faintly. Your Highness has shown concern and care for Princess Jianing, but not affection. A subtle smile touched his lips. Besides, Your Highness, Princess Jianing doesn't belong to anyone. The Crown Prince's gaze hardened imperceptibly. Seemingly unfazed, Zi Yinhuai met his stare, the smile on his lips deepening. Meanwhile, Princess Jianing heard about the Crown Prince's relapse. After the Crown Prince's dramatic episode, the imperial physician devised a treatment plan. However, it required a rare ingredient. The top-grade Qianshan snow lotus. Blaming the sixth prince for the Crown Prince's relapse, the young emperor demanded an apology from him. He then swiftly issued a reward for finding the snow lotus. The sixth prince was banished from the palace to search for the Qianshan snow lotus. Hearing this, the princess smiled faintly. The young empress doting on the Crown Prince was always so dramatic, yet never truly considerate of the prince's actual needs. He feared the Crown Prince becoming a target, a point the Crown Prince himself likely understood. He was estranged from the young emperor, and not close to the other princes. He wouldn't hesitate in the future for the sake of brotherly affection. The princess subtly sent a message to Hua Tuoyi. If Hua Tuoyi could locate foreign treasures like the pocket watch, he could surely find the top-grade Qianshan snow lotus. Our innocent princess wanted to find the snow lotus for her future husband. The couple truly were on the same wavelength. Since Hua Tuoyi was the Crown Prince's alias, the message naturally reached the Eastern Palace. The Crown Prince, mid-meal, lost his usual gentle demeanor upon hearing the princess request to see Hua Tuoyi. Is she in trouble? Qian Yuan shook his head vigorously. Your Highness forbade me to watch the princess, so I am unaware of what transpired. The Crown Prince, despite his concern, hadn't spied on the princess. He knew she disliked being monitored. To conceal his identity, the Crown Prince used his left hand to write a reply to the princess, arranging a meeting. After writing, a smile touched his lips. He gave the letter to Qian Yuan to deliver through the Merchant Guild. Qian Yuan's eyelid twitched. Your Highness, Luoyang is quite far. This is only the third day since you sent the first letter. With the princess' intelligence, what if she discovers Hua Tuoyi is you? The Crown Prince glanced at Qian Yuan, his expression softer than moonlight. It doesn't matter. She will learn more and more about me in the future. Qian Yuan frowned, convinced his usually cautious prince became reckless when it came to the princess. Is mutual love really that beautiful? The Crown Prince, upon receiving the princess' reply, assumed she was facing difficulties and eagerly went to meet his beloved. The next day, the princess met Hua Fuhai. Luoyang was miles from the capital. Hua Fuhai had arrived remarkably fast. The Crown Prince's haste revealed too much. The princess smiled knowingly. So, he is the one impersonating people in the capital. Hua Fuhai, as before, was adorned with countless jewels, a walking treasure vault. The princess turned away, shielding her eyes from the glittering display. Our princess possessed a keen sense of smell, especially for fragrances. Being a qualified fragrance detector, she once again detected the familiar scent of top-grade agarwood on Hua Fuhai. It was the same fragrance worn by Xiao Yishi and Dali Sai Shaoqing, Kui Jingbai. Without revealing her knowledge, the princess stated her purpose. I hear Hua Tuoyi's connections span far and wide. I wish to request your help in finding top-grade Qianshan snow lotus. The usually composed Crown Prince was taken aback. Princess, are you seeking the Qianshan snow lotus for the Crown Prince? He inquired tentatively. The princess replied frankly, yes. The Crown Prince's breath hitched, his heart pounding. He was so overjoyed he almost forgot his Hua Fuhai disguise. Composing himself, Hua Fuhai forced a merchant's shrewd expression. What do I gain from this transaction, princess? The princess smiled gracefully. I can grant you access to the northwest trade routes. The northwest trade routes controlled the region's economy. Due to the presence of barbarian tribes, only the princess family's northwest army could maintain order. This power resided firmly in the hands of the Northwest Palace. The Crown Prince, disguised as Hua Fuhai, was stunned. The princess was willing to grant him access to the lucrative northwest trade routes for the crown prince's sake. A city once fell for a beautiful woman. Is the princess' action for someone special? The princess smiled frankly. $1 million gold for a beautiful man. $1 million gold for a beautiful man. That's the kind of extravagance only a top-tier wealthy woman can afford. The beautiful man in question chuckled. It seems the crown prince is quite the looker. The princess pondered this seriously. Beauty is subjective. However, no one surpasses him in terms of chivalry. The crown prince, unexpectedly complimented, blushed slightly. How flattering. After a moment, he decided to test the princess. What if I refuse your request? The princess simply smiled. Would the weight of Xiao Yishi and Dali Sai Shaoqing be sufficient? Since you can impersonate them, you must be closely connected. Though I lack evidence, rumors of your collusion could easily reach His Majesty. Given his paranoia, even if he doesn't act against you, he would certainly investigate Xiao Yishi, and Dali Sai Shaoqing's position would be in jeopardy. They are both young and hold important positions. You wouldn't want to lose such valuable allies, would you? The thinly veiled threat made Hua Fuhai hesitate. The princess truly knew how to negotiate. I like it. Though Flower Blooms and Sword Shadows has a fictional setting, it accurately reflects the historical power struggle between the court and powerful families. As the beloved daughter of the Northwest King, Princess Jianing boldly declared, the imperial sons are mine to choose, even in the presence of the emperor. Now, by offering the Northwest trade routes for the Qianshan Snow Lotus, she demonstrates her intelligence and resourcefulness. The princess smiled confidently. I rarely cooperate with others. If I set my mind on something, no one can refuse. The crown prince, as Hua Fuhai, chuckled. You are determined to help the crown prince and wish to collaborate with me, yet you don't ask about my identity. Aren't you worried about the crown prince's future opinion of you? The princess smiled faintly. When did I say I wanted a long-term partnership? Our cooperation is merely mutually beneficial for now. Whether we remain allies depends on our future compatibility. We shall see how we fare against each other. The crown prince mused internally, my princess is so cold and calculating. I adore it. He then feigned sincerity. Since you've considered the future, you must have guessed him backed by an imperial prince. He paused dramatically. Why not choose me directly? I possess both status and power. The princess had already deduced his imperial connection, but didn't know which prince. Even the Eastern Palace hadn't been entirely ruled out. I dislike deceitful games and a husband who is too clever, she replied honestly. Weary of court politics, she didn't want a complicated life. So, you find the crown prince foolish? Hua Fuhai asked, feigning offense. The princess frowned. Hua Tuoyi, he is different from you. Her protectiveness of the crown prince was clear. Though annoyed, the disguised crown prince was elated. His heart soared. If the princess weren't present, he would have jumped for joy. Seeing her displeasure, he relented. Since you've been so frank, I have no choice. I look forward to your guidance, he said, turning to leave. The princess, disliking pretense, offered no farewell. Down below, in the carriage, Qian Yuan waited anxiously. The crown prince considered him too simple-minded to appear before the princess. Seeing Hua Fuhai return, Qian Yuan rushed over. Your Highness, what did the princess say? The crown prince removed his mask, revealing his handsome face. He smiled gently. The princess said I am different from others. His eyes held warmth. Love and praise had made him even more radiant. Qian Yuan, seeing his master's gentle expression, wondered if the princess had confessed her feelings. Then he remembered the princess had met Hua Fuhai, and was unaware of his true identity. Recalling Hua Fuhai's gaudy appearance, Qian Yuan shook his head vehemently. The princess wouldn't fall for Hua Fuhai. Seeing Qian Yuan's reaction, the crown prince lightly rapped him on the head. She offered Hua Fuhai the northwest trade routes to find the Qianshan Snow Lotus for me. Qian Yuan rubbed his head, bewildered. The princess is truly generous. The crown prince was dissatisfied with Qian Yuan's response. She's doing this for me. Shouldn't I be grateful? Qian Yuan immediately plastered on a sycophantic smile. Of course, Your Highness. The princess clearly cares deeply for you. She heard about your need for the Snow Lotus just 2 days ago, and immediately acted. You clearly hold a special place in her heart. Receiving affirmation, the crown prince beamed, lost in the joy of mutual affection. How powerful were the aristocratic families of the 17 powerful clans during the early Tang dynasty? Officials' factions and family ties were based on clan influence, a complex web of power. They held high positions and immense prestige, controlling the court and the northwest. The Guanlong group wielded millennia of influence. They held dominant positions and commanded widespread respect, manipulating the Tang court. The Guanlong group in the northwest had wielded influence for centuries. However, the tide of history favored imperial power. The conflict between the emperor and the aristocratic families was inevitable. The emperor wouldn't tolerate the Guanlong group's dominance in the northwest. It challenged his authority. The dismantling of the aristocratic family's power was a necessity. Following Yu Xiaobao's map, Mo Yu, the Princess Guard, investigated Prince Kang's residence. He finally located the secret workshop where Prince Kang was manufacturing weapons. He reported this to the princess. The princess understood. The current emperor was in his prime. Prince Kang wouldn't dare to usurp the throne. He must be manufacturing weapons for the emperor. Ziyu, the princess maid, was shocked. Why would His Majesty secretly manufacture weapons? He rules the entire empire. What need does he have for such secrecy? The princess pondered. If they are manufacturing weapons, they must be raising an army, for assassination, or to replace the Northwest Army. Both Mo Yu and Ziyu were taken aback. Replace the Northwest Army, but the Northwest Army defends against foreign invaders. They are the protectors of the Northwest. The princess frowned. The emperor will not tolerate my father's control over the Northwest. It's a challenge to his power. The tension between them has been escalating due to the Northwest's military power. While they were pondering this, Prince Shunan's son, Bu Jiaojiao, burst in. He rushed to the princess, pleading, "Sister Shiha, you must save me." Bu Jiaojiao collapsed onto a chair, his face distressed. Today, His Majesty tasked Consort Rong with hosting an archery contest at Furong Garden, inviting all the nobles. But my sources tell me Consort Li plans to use this opportunity to propose my marriage to Princess Anning. The princess, initially expecting a serious matter, was amused. Can you escape your destiny of marrying a princess, just as I cannot escape marrying a prince? As the only son of Prince Shunnan, Bu Jiaojiao was destined to marry a princess. Bu Jiaojiao sobbed. That's why I'm begging you. If I marry the princess, my secret will be revealed. I'm a girl. The princess remained indifferent. So, what's it to me? Bu Jiaojiao suddenly held up 3 fingers. Knowing the princess was pragmatic, Bu Jiaojiao offered an incentive. If you help me avoid marrying Princess Anning, he'll give the Northwest Army sets of armor. The princess smiled. The Shunnan Palace was known for its skilled armorers. Their armor was light and strong, something her father had always admired. Since there was a benefit, she was happy to help. Her indifference vanished, replaced by a warm smile. How can I refuse such a sincere plea? Under Bu Jiaojiao's hopeful gaze, the princess smiled mischievously. Since you fear exposure, let's address the root of the problem. Bu Jiaojiao's eyes widened. What do you suggest, Sister Shiha? The princess extended a finger. Find a substitute. Bu Jiaojiao's eyes narrowed in shock. The princess' smile was enigmatic. I have the perfect candidate. Someone discreet. Dali Sai Shaoqing, Kui Jingbai. If you trust me, just throw yourself at him during the banquet. Bu Jiaojiao recoiled. Isn't that too cruel? Secretly, the princess was looking forward to the chaos. Cat ownership was a trend among the 17 powerful clans. Any noble without a cat would be considered out of touch. But today, a noble lady, known for her sharp tongue, dared to mock us openly. Princess Jiaoyang, Shen 11 He, was on her way to the imperial palace for the Shaoju banquet, determined to avoid paying the 3,000 gold pieces tax. The imperial garden buzzed with laughter and chatter. Groups of young lords and ladies gathered, enjoying each other's company. It was a feast for the eyes, but the moment the princess appeared, the entire garden seemed to dim. People were intensely curious about her. Since her arrival in the capital, she had caused quite a stir with her unconventional actions, like sending a monkey wearing a diz to the Dali temple, dressing up as a Tang dynasty courtesan to escape the palace, throwing the arrogant prince of hunting into the 6th prince's residence. Even the 6th prince and the crown prince had once fought over her, causing a major commotion. No young lady had ever been so bold and unrestrained. She declined every invitation. So, few had seen her face, fueling the mystery surrounding her. Today, there was an air of anticipation, but the princess seemed indifferent to the stares. Behind her, some ladies gossiped, but the princess showed no interest in joining them. Suddenly, a voice cut through the chatter. The princess turned. A noble lady said, I hear in the northwest wilderness, people eat anything. They even practice cannibalism. The speaker was Cheng Jiaxiu, daughter of the Zhuanping Marquis. The princess had once driven Cheng Jiren, the Xuanping Marquis' first son, out of the capital. The two families had a history of bad blood. Despite the insult, the princess remained calm, but her maid, Ya Huanzi, bristled. She and the princess were from the northwest. This noble lady was clearly mocking them. Cheng Jiaxu, fanning herself, continued, Princess Jiayang, since you're from the northwest, have you ever eaten human flesh? The crowd gasped, showing open disdain for the princess. They were all cat lovers. The thought of eating cats was horrifying. The princess looked at Cheng Jiaxu coldly and asked, where did you hear this? Cheng Jiaxu replied, I can't recall. But barbarians are common in the northwest, so cannibalism must be frequent. Princess Jiayang stood tall. During the late emperor's reign, the Turks invaded dozens of times annually. The northwestern people fought bravely to survive. They've eaten tree bark, caught snakes, and they shed blood and tears so you, Lady Cheng, can live a carefree life in the capital. How dare you call the northwestern people barbarians? Her voice was calm, without mentioning cannibalism, but rendered Cheng Jiaxu speechless. The princess stepped closer, her eyes piercing Cheng Jiaxu's. Without the northwest's fierce warriors. Lady Cheng, you might be a captive of the Turks, subjected to unspeakable horrors. A few simple words, without vulgarity, yet utterly humiliating. Cheng Jiaxu couldn't retort. She stammered, Yu. Another young lady stepped forward. It sounds like the peace of the realm is solely thanks to the northwest. But peace and prosperity are achieved through the contributions of all officials. Your words are biased. The princess turned to the woman, her voice cold. So it's Lady Wang. You mentioned the peace of the realm. I'd like to ask how much your Wang family has contributed to this peace. That Lady Wang can interrupt and lecture me with such condescending arrogance. The princess' words struck Lady Wang like a dagger, leaving her speechless. After a moment of silence, the princess chuckled. It seems our upbringings differ. No need to force compatibility. With that, the princess turned and left. She had always disliked interacting with these ladies who only cared about chasing men. She had only come to avoid the 3,000 gold pieces tax. This confrontation provided a perfect excuse to cut ties with them. The entire imperial city knew that Princess Jiayang was not to be trifled with. Yet, some still dared to provoke her. Seeing a certain little vixen stirring up trouble, how could the princess let her go? The princess had just reached a secluded spot, hoping for some peace, when a sweet voice called out from behind, Princess. Princess. Can I walk with you? A young girl, no older than 12 or 13, with rosy cheeks, looked at the princess with adoration. I'm Zhu Qingyang from the Zhu family. My nickname is Kiao. The princess coldly refused. Undeterred, the little girl smiled brightly. I promise it'll be very good. I won't disturb you. I just want to walk with you. I don't want to be with them. The princess chuckled. You're called Kiao. Kiao nodded eagerly. In the princess' mind, she pictured Kiao with chicken feet and a wagging tail. Unable to resist her cuteness, the princess relented. I have an appointment. I can't walk with you. Her purpose today was to help Bu Jiaojiao, and she was waiting for him. Kiao's big eyes pleaded, then can I visit you at your residence? I promise not to disturb you. Kiao was adorable, but her cuteness had no effect on the princess' iron heart. The princess firmly refused. No. She turned and left without a second glance. Kiao was heartbroken, but Cheng Jiaxu and Wang Yuhui, standing behind Kiao, sneered. We're from noble families. We've always looked down on commoners like the princess. Kiao needs to be taught a lesson. With that, Cheng Jiaxu deliberately bumped into Kiao. Poor Kiao fell into the water with a splash. She struggled and cried for help. The princess, already some distance away, stopped. She immediately ordered Moyu to find a bamboo pole. Kiao crawled ashore, shivering and coughing. Just then, Moyu returned with a bamboo pole. The princess grabbed it, her eyes fixed on Cheng Jiaxu. She then shoved the pole into Cheng Jiaxu's back. She pushed hard and fast. Cheng Jiaxu choked on water, coughing and struggling. She was about to beg for mercy when another push sent her back into the water. The princess repeatedly dunked Cheng Jiaxu, each time harder than the last. The other ladies watched in horror. Princess! Princess! Stop! The princess turned, a chilling smile on her face. So you know someone could die. If you had killed Kiao, you would have paid with your lives. But if I take her life, do you think I would need to pay? The ladies who had provoked her turned pale. Lady Wang, terrified, knelt. Princess, we were wrong to offend you. We deserve punishment. Please spare Jiax's life. HMPH, it seems some people only learn their lesson through harsh methods. Emperor An had ordered the effeminate Prince Nan, Bu Jiajiao, to attend the princess election. Was our mischievous, adorable princess about to make a grand entrance? No, no, no. The princess had orchestrated a much more dramatic scene. The emperor had no idea he was sending Bu Jiajiao to meet a handsome young man. Today's Shaju banquet was originally meant for Bu Jiajiao and Princess Anling to meet, but Prince Bu, following the princess plan, had set the stage in advance, arranging a secret meeting with Qi Jingbai. The clueless Qi Jingbai went straight to the meeting place without checking the imperial calendar. The flirtatious Qi Jingbai, seeing Bu Jiajiao there, asked, "Prince, why did you summon me so suddenly?" Bu Jiajiao blushed, thinking, Princess Anling isn't here yet. I'll stall him with some small talk. So he began rambling about official matters. After a long while, still unable to find the right words, Bu Jiajiao blurted out, that is, Just then, Princess Anling, also lured there by the princess, arrived. Her face flushed with anticipation. The innocent princess thought her beloved Prince Bu had summoned her for a romantic rendezvous. Bu Jiajiao panicked. He suddenly jumped up and shouted, "Hey, pretty boy. I want to talk to you. Let's have a heart-to-heart." His strange, almost flirtatious outburst shocked Qi Jingbai. Seeing Bu Jiajiao about to pounce on him, Qi Jingbai instinctively raised his hand to block Bu Jiajiao's head. Slap! Bu Jiajiao nearly had his soul knocked out of his body. He collapsed on the ground, whimpering. Qi Jingbai stared in disbelief. "Prince, what are you doing?" Bu Jiajiao, clutching his shoulder, stood up with a gasp. Before Qi Jingbai could react, Bu Jiajiao, like a domineering lady, declared, "Whether you like it or not, you're mine now." He then lunged at Qi Jingbai. Princess Anling, witnessing this scene, was utterly dumbfounded. Yu too, she couldn't believe her eyes. Her heart shattered into a million pieces. Princess Anling cried out and ran away. Qi Jingbai, pinned against a tree, was completely bewildered. Bu Jiajiao, however, was ecstatic. His eyes gleamed as he chased after the princess. One ran, the other pursued. They soon reached the imperial garden. The emperor and his officials were all present. Princess Anling's face was streaked with tears, while Prince Bu chased her. "Princess, let me explain." The bewildered onlookers were utterly confused. Bu Jiajiao, upon reaching the princess' side, Chao Junzu winked, indicating the plan's success. Then he went to explain to Princess Anling. But what good was explaining? Ultimately, this country bumpkin successfully celebrated the Double Ninth Festival. Afterwards, the two left the workshop in a carriage. Bu Jiajiao, inside the carriage, danced her shoulders, looking triumphantly at the princess consort. "Sister, you didn't tell me. The fourth prince's martial arts has greatly improved in recent years." Bu Jiajiao, agitated, pulled a facial muscle painfully as she spoke. Her heart felt a twinge of pain. The princess consort stifled a laugh. "Here's nothing special," she thought to herself. "I only know that the fake princess martial arts are pretty good." Jiu Jiajiao pulled open her clothes, revealing the bruise on her shoulder. Her voice was filled with false bravado. "Look, it's already turning purple." Her fake grievance quickly turned into cold arrogance. But this was a sneak attack. Otherwise, with his paltry skills, he wouldn't be able to hurt me. Faced with Bu Jiajiao's contradictory behavior, the princess consort looked to the heavens, speechless. Bu Jiajiao recounted the entire story again. After listening, the princess consort smiled. It seems despite the twists and turns, it was a success. But Bu Jiajiao was still a little worried. Is coming here really safe? One wrong step could expose the seventh prince's crimes. The princess consort reassured Bu Jiajiao with a merchant's pragmatism. "Don't worry, you're still useful to me. I won't harm you." He still remembered the 3,000 taels of silver Bu Jiajiao promised him after her success. Meanwhile, Bu Jiajiao felt greatly wronged. Her beloved sister Shihi truly had a heart of stone. But what Bu Jiajiao didn't know was that she would see an even more ruthless side of the princess consort in the future, one that involved the extermination of entire clans. What's it like to hold the script of a palace drama couple? One is the seemingly delicate and helpless crown prince. The other is the fierce princess consort, whom even the emperor doesn't dare provoke. These two are evenly matched and share a tacit understanding. With a single move, they can destroy entire families. Not long ago, at Xiao Juyan's birthday banquet, Junzu punished the Chen and Wang families for their misdeeds. Not only did the emperor not blame Princess Consort Zhaoyang, but he also warned the Cheng and Wang families and severely punished Marquis Xuanping, which was very satisfying. However, this matter soon reached the crown prince's ears. After hearing the whole story, the crown prince smiled. The Cheng and Wang families dared to bully her. Qian Yuan, the young eunuch, was very helpless. He wanted to say that although the Cheng and Wang families provoked first, the princess consort hadn't suffered any loss. The crown prince continued, recalling the Tupo prince's sarcastic remarks 3 years ago. Xuanping, who received many gifts from the Tupo prince, didn't he? Qian Yuan, his scalp tingling, replied, yes, thinking that Marquis Xuanping was doomed. The crown prince smiled faintly. Xuanping has accepted many gifts from the Tupo prince. These past few years, Tupo has been increasingly encroaching on the border. They've launched several successful surprise attacks. Tell me, if no one leaked the border defense map to Tupo, how could their military actions be so precise? Qian Yuan understood. His Highness was going to punish Xuanping who had offended the princess consort. His eyes widened in fear. Accusing the Chen family of collaborating with the enemy meant their entire clan would be executed. The crown prince continued, as for the Wang family, give all the evidence we have against them to the fifth prince. He'll definitely act according to my plan to avenge Jiyu Qingji. Jiyu Qingji was the princess consort's past life, and Xiao Changqing, the fifth prince, was Jiyu Qingji's husband. The princess consort, unaware of the crown prince's plan, didn't know that he could lure her former husband, Xiao Changqing, back from Fahua Temple with just a few letters. But she, sharing a tacit understanding with the crown prince, also began to plot against Xuanping who. Lu Jiaojiao came to remind the princess consort, Sister Shihi, the Chen family has begun investigating the death of the Kang prince's younger aunt. We need to act soon. After a moment of thought, the princess consort said calmly, accused Xuanping who of treason. Lu Jiaojiao's eyes widened. Sister Shihi, you're so ruthless. This is a capital offense. Lu Jiaojiao couldn't help but admire the princess consort, who was 3 years younger than her, but whose ruthlessness was beyond her reach. A few days later, the princess consort discovered that someone was already taking action against the Xuanping Hu mansion. She asked, wary and surprised, who is dealing with the Xuanping Hu mansion? As far as I know, besides me, Xuanping Hu has no enemies. Mo Yuan bowed his head. This subordinate is incompetent. I couldn't find out their identity. Just as the princess consort was puzzled, Qian Yuan, the crown prince's guard, arrived. He announced, Princess consort, His Highness awoke last night, and is slightly better this morning. He specifically ordered me to bring you these preserved kumquats. The princess consort was surprised. His Highness has awakened. Qian Yuan smiled awkwardly. He couldn't reveal that the crown prince was feigning illness. He continued with the lie, His Highness has been having nightmares lately, and only fully regained consciousness last night. Qian Yuan thought to himself, actually, His Highness has been lovesick, losing his appetite and becoming thinner. But he hadn't found the Qianshan snow lotus yet, so he had to continue the act. Otherwise, wouldn't his sudden recovery be suspicious? He racked his brains for a while before coming up with an excuse. Although His Highness is theoretically still unconscious, a slight improvement for a day shouldn't be a problem, right? Thus, Qian Yuan was forced by the crown prince to act as a matchmaker between him and the princess consort. Qian Yuan continued awkwardly, His Highness also said that if it's convenient for the princess consort, please visit the palace today. He has something to tell you. His health is fragile, and he doesn't know when he might lose consciousness again. The princess consort was speechless. What did he mean by might lose consciousness again? Although she found it strange, since the crown prince frequently lost consciousness, she decided to visit him. But the princess consort didn't know that our crown prince, disguised as a delicate flower, was waiting for her in the Eastern Palace. Today, the crown prince had a small goal. To win her over, no matter the cost. The princess consort arrived at the Eastern Palace. She saw the crown prince pale and weak, coughing intermittently. Zhao Yang approached him. Keek. Feeling unwell, I celebrated the festival in advance. He blinked weakly, his voice growing fainter. Consider today's meeting with the princess consort as an early celebration. It seemed the crown prince's acting was effective. The princess consort was completely fooled by him. Seeing the crown prince's condition, the princess consort thought he probably wouldn't be able to enjoy the double ninth festival with wine and pastries. Thinking of the pastries, the princess consort reminisced, a hint of sadness in her eyes. She remembered, every double ninth festival, Adi and Xiong would accompany me to the city walls to watch the joyful celebrations and the lantern displays. The Crown Prince coughed weakly. The imperial city walls offer a panoramic view of the capital. Keek. If I'm feeling better on the double ninth festival, could I invite Junzu to ascend the tower together? The princess consort readily agreed. She also wanted to experience the view from the capital's city walls. The Crown Prince had been prepared for rejection, so the princess consort's agreement was a pleasant surprise. Rubbing his handkerchief, he began to plan the arrangements. Qian Yuan, standing aside, was speechless. Your Highness, you said your condition would only improve for a day. The Crown Prince coughed lightly, barely concealing his joy. The princess consort asked, is there something you wanted to tell me? The Crown Prince had prepared other topics, but seeing the princess consort's straightforwardness, he changed his mind. Jia, do you miss your family? I can request an imperial edict. Keek. But only one person can come to the capital. The princess consort looked at the Crown Prince. Her father, Shen Yushan, and brother, Shen Yunan, were stationed at the border and couldn't leave the northwest without permission. If the Crown Prince could allow one of them to return, she would be grateful, but it would also mean owing him a favor. After a moment of silence, the princess consort decided to accept the favor. Thank you for your consideration, Your Highness. I wish to see my brother. The Crown Prince smiled with satisfaction. Junzu is willing to ascend the tower with me. Keek. Requesting an edict is nothing, the princess consort said. Accompanying Your Highness to the tower is a small matter. The Crown Prince interrupted her. Requesting the edict is also a small matter. Keek. To you and me, these are small matters, but to you and me, they are also matters of great importance. Junzu felt touched. She had never met someone who treated her so well without asking for anything in return, and without any discernible ulterior motive. It was pure and gentle kindness, perfectly measured, impossible to refuse, and without leaving any burden on her heart. Only two kinds of people could do this. Someone purely good, or someone who deeply understands human nature. She looked intently at the Crown Prince, wondering which he was. The Crown Prince met her gaze. Keek. Junzu, why are you looking at me like this? The princess consort replied, I've always been able to see through people, but Your Highness is the first I can't understand. The Crown Prince replied calmly, Junzu doesn't need to understand me. Just trust that I will never harm you. Such heartfelt words, but they didn't seem to move the cold and indifferent princess consort. She even found them somewhat laughable. Seeing through her thoughts, the Crown Prince said softly, Junzu doesn't need to fully trust me now. Just leave it to time. At dusk, the princess consort left the Eastern Palace. The Crown Prince shed his sickly facade and removed his disguise. Qian Yuan worried for his master. Your Highness, if you request an edict for Shen Shizi to enter the capital, I'm afraid some people will become restless. He was worried it would backfire. He continued, if something happens to Shen Yunan after entering the capital, how will we explain it to the princess consort? The Crown Prince, back to his sickly demeanor, replied, Shen Yunan is not incompetent, and Shen Yushan is not a fool. Qian Yuan, I want to win her over, no matter the cost. The Crown Prince played with a black chess piece, planning for the future. I can't hide my true self from Jiao forever. Sooner or later, she'll know who I really am. When the time is right, I'll reveal everything to her. I only hope that before then, I can win her over a little more. The top-tier green tea Crown Prince, to get closer to Junzu, cross-dressed as a young lady. He, who wants to be sisters with Junzu, saved her from being disfigured. Not long ago, the Zhuanpinghu mansion was raided, but our princess consort didn't know the mastermind was the Crown Prince. The one who filed the complaint was Prince Ding, Xiao Changtai, but he was known as an idle prince, uninterested in court affairs. But this time, he acted decisively. With his move, Zhuanping, who had no chance to recover, Junzu couldn't understand why Xiao Changtai was so efficient. 3 days later, the Ding Prince's mansion held a banquet for the princess. The princess consort decided to attend to investigate. The Crown Prince quickly learned of the princess consort's plans. He smiled slyly. It's going to be lively at the Ding Prince's mansion. Knowing Junzu will be there, I naturally want to go too, but he wanted to cosplay again. The Qin family's eldest granddaughter is very tall. If I cross-dress as a young lady, will she misunderstand me? He. The Crown Prince blushed at the thought. Qian Yuan was dumbfounded. This is madness. Why does His Highness act like he's possessed whenever it concerns the princess consort? 3 days later, many officials and nobles attended the banquet at the Ding Prince's mansion. Shortly after the princess consort arrived, little Princess Kiao ran towards her excitedly. Sister! But Kia tripped on a rock. Just as she was about to fall, a pair of slender hands caught her with lightning speed. Kia looked up and saw that it was the Qin family's eldest granddaughter, Qin Zixi. The princess consort glanced at Qin Zixi and noticed her impressive height. She was the tallest woman she had ever seen, but our princess consort didn't know that this Miss Qin was actually the crown prince in disguise. The crown prince wanted to stay close to the princess consort, so he remained by her side. But what followed was a dramatic scene between the women. Princess Ding, Li Yangyang, seemed isolated. She didn't interact with the other noble ladies, staring at her nails, seemingly insecure. Although she was a princess, her family background was humble, making her unpopular in the capital's social circles. At that moment, Prince Ding's concubine, Liang Danpu, arrived. Liang Danpu was a noble lady, but she willingly became a concubine for Prince Ding. It seemed her relationship with Princess Li Yangyang was strained. As soon as Liang Danpu arrived, Li Yangyang grabbed a teacup and threw it at her. Liang Danpu quickly dodged, and the teacup shattered on the ground, but a shard flew towards the princess consort. Just as it was about to hit her face, a pair of chopsticks flew from the side, deflecting the shard barely half an inch from her face. The shard and chopsticks fell to the ground. The princess consort realized it was Qin Zixi, who had saved her. Amazed by her skill, Junzu turned to look at the young lady. The disguised crown prince praised her softly, "Well done." This misled everyone into thinking Qin Zixi had saved Junzu with her hairpin. But Princess Li Yangyang was in big trouble. If she had simply targeted Prince Ding's concubine, even death would be justifiable. But now, she had involved the Northwest Prince's precious daughter, a consequence she couldn't bear. What happened next was even more shocking. Concubine Liang Danpu, to frame Princess Li Yangyang, nearly disfigured the princess consort. Our princess consort will not tolerate such behavior. Liang Danpu deliberately provoked Li Yangyang by flaunting her closeness with Prince Ding. She intentionally showed her seductive side to anger the princess. When Li Yangyang threw the teacup, she dodged, directing the shard towards the princess consort. As everyone was shocked, Prince Ding arrived. Liang Danpu immediately acted like an innocent victim, hiding behind Prince Ding. Xiao Changqian, Prince Ding, stood protectively in front of Li Yangyang. "Yangyang, stop this nonsense." Li Yangyang's eyes flashed with anger. "She hasn't even officially entered the family, and you're already protecting her. Are you so afraid it'll hurt her?" Prince Ding frowned. "Yangyang, let's go back." He reached for Li Yanyan's hand, but she pulled away. Prince Ding didn't realize how much his protective gesture had enraged his wife. Li Yangyang said coldly, "Since you want to protect her, I'll fulfill your wish." Her eyes flashed, and in the next second, blood trickled down her face. Everyone gasped. Li Yangyang remained calm, dropping the shard. "Since you can't bear to see her hurt, I'll apologize to the princess consort myself." Everyone was impressed by her boldness. Seeing his wife hurt herself, Prince Ding was heartbroken. He shouted, "Physician! Quickly call a physician." Li Yangyang smiled faintly. "It's just a small cut. I won't die." Blood continued to drip from her face. Seeing the princess leave, the prince did not give chase. Li Yangyang kept calling out, "Yangyang! Yangyang! Yangyang! Yangyang!" Catching up to Yangyang, the prince embraced him from behind and said softly, "Yangyang, don't be upset and leave. Be good. Soon, the impersonator's disguise will disappear completely." The couple then left, entangled in each other's arms. Liang Danpu watched the departing prince and princess from afar. His eyes held both hatred and fear. The princess royal witnessed all of this. "Someone actually dares to stir up trouble and use me. I will destroy this Liang Danpu." The princess royal picked up a teacup and called out coldly, "Lady Liang." Liang Danpu snapped back to attention, but just as she turned her head, she saw the princess royal hurl the teacup at her. When Li Yangyang threw the teacup, she dodged it, but she did not dodge the princess royal's throw. The cup landed precisely at her feet, shattering. Everyone looked at the princess royal with confusion. They all remembered when she dealt with Cheng Wang and his concubine's family, displaying her power. No one present dared to provoke her. Seemingly terrified, Liang Danpu's face paled. The princess royal spoke to Liang Danpu mockingly, "Lady Liang, you didn't dodge because you knew the teacup would land at your feet and not on you. Just now, the princess teacup also only landed at your feet. Knowing this, what did you intend?" "Truly interesting, Lady Liang." Tears welled up in Liang Danpu's eyes. "I don't understand what your highness means." The Princess Royal said, "I've known my father all my life. You didn't dodge because I was behind you. The princess wouldn't hit you, but she would hit me. You instigated this conflict between us so you could benefit from it." In truth, the Princess Royal was right. Liang Danpu had deliberately appeared to provoke Li Yangyang. If Li Yangyang had hurt the Princess Royal, he would succeed in turning Li Yangyang into a powerful enemy against her. This was a risky gamble, but he hadn't expected the Princess Royal to see through his scheme. Liang Danpu's face flushed with anger. "Your Highness, although I am of humble birth, I cannot tolerate such humiliation." The Princess Royal laughed. "Humiliation? I merely spoke the truth. Do you know what true humiliation feels like?" It seems the Princess Royal was about to show this Lady Liang what real humiliation was. The Crown Prince's cross-dressing secret was about to be exposed by our Princess Royal. The ever-sharp Princess Royal was prepared to personally unveil this cross-dressing man. But before that, she had to deal with a troublemaker. How dare this Liang Danpu, a mere concubine of the Daiwing household, scheme against the Princess Royal, then accuse her of humiliation. The Princess Royal must let him experience the true meaning of humiliation. The Princess Royal grabbed a nearby ceramic stove and threw it on the ground, smashing it into pieces. Then she walked towards Liang Danpu with a chilling expression. Mo Yu grabbed Liang Danpu's shoulders and forcefully brought his knee up. Thud! Liang Danpu's knees landed on the broken shards, eliciting a sharp cry of pain. Sweat beaded on Liang Danpu's forehead as he gritted his teeth. "Your Highness. You dare use such torture?" The Princess Royal looked at him indifferently. "The princess is a respected royal highness. Today, she was injured because of your provocation. As the culprit, shouldn't you be punished? Since you don't understand reason, I will teach you a lesson. If you are dissatisfied, you can complain to the Emperor. I, the Princess Royal, will await your complaint." She then gestured for Mo Yu to continue pressing him onto the shards. "Wait! Stop!" A forceful voice interrupted. The painful cries ceased abruptly. The Princess Royal is certainly correct. Mo Yu, personally escort Lady Liang back to the Liang residence, and inform the head of the family of everything that happened here. Mo Yu followed the Princess Royal's orders and dragged Liang Danpu out. Everyone present was inwardly shaken. They were glad they hadn't offended the fierce Princess Royal. At the same time, they saw Liang Danpu's true colors. The guests began to criticize him, the room buzzing with whispers. Ding Wangfei, as the host, decided to lighten the mood. "This unpleasantness is an eyesore. I've invited Bien Dajia to perform a dance for everyone's entertainment." Bien Dajia was the leading dancer of the renowned Five Fingers dance troupe. Yes, he was the performer favored by the sixth prince, Xiao Changyu. Bien Zhuanyi was originally a nobleman with both literary and martial talent. Unfortunately, his grandfather committed a serious crime, and the entire family was labeled as criminals. However, with his superb dancing skills, he became the lead dancer of the Five Fingers dance troupe. The Princess Royal joined the others in front of the stage to enjoy Bien Dajia's dance. Unnoticed, Qin Lilang, disguised as the Crown Prince, stood beside her. Watching the graceful dancer on stage, he whispered, "Gongting Wuji is nothing more than this." The Princess Royal initially paid him no mind. But a faint, unique scent of high-quality agarwood drifted towards her, too distinct for her sharp senses to ignore. This was the scent of top-grade, expensive agarwood. Why did it always appear around her? Quickly, the Princess Royal pinpointed the source, the Qin Lilang beside her. Could this Qin Lilang be the mysterious man proficient in Yurong Shu? Just as the Princess Royal was pondering, the other guests, eager to watch the exquisite performance, crowded closer. The Princess Royal's eyes flashed. She dramatically stumbled towards Qin Lilang. Oh! The disguised Crown Prince caught her. Her face flushed. This was too embarrassing. But what happened next was even more embarrassing. As the Princess Royal leaned against him, her hands accidentally landed on his chest. Then the Princess Royal, firmly squeezed. The unexpected softness beneath her fingers sent a strange sensation through her, making her blush crimson. She quickly pulled away from Qin Lilang's embrace. Blushing, she apologized, "Excuse me." The cross-dressing Crown Prince chuckled, "No worries." The Princess Royal's seemingly accidental probe was fully observed by the Crown Prince. His lips curved into an almost imperceptible smile. "Silly girl, I came prepared." Though the Crown Prince had escaped this time, the Princess Royal still found this Qin Lilang suspicious. Even after confirming his female identity, she still had to test him again. This time, our Princess Royal not only leaned against the cross-dressing Crown Prince, but also accidentally groped his chest. Driven by her sharp senses, she detected a masculine scent on Kin Lalang. Feeling the unexpected softness and firmness, the Princess Royal blushed crimson and quickly pulled away, apologizing. The cross-dressing crown prince, amused, smiled inwardly. Silly girl, I came prepared. Though embarrassed, the Princess Royal found this Kin Lalang quite interesting. She decided to test him further. On the stage, Bien Juanyi, in a flowing red dress, danced gracefully. He twirled and leapt. His movements were fluid and elegant. He spun like a whirlwind. His steps were light and precise. He moved with captivating grace. His sleeves billowed like blossoming flowers. He spun faster and faster. Bien Juanyi's dance was mesmerizing. However, Kin Lalang, still disguised as the crown prince, gave a surprisingly blunt critique, mediocre. Whether the Princess Royal was amused, we don't know. But Bien Juanyi certainly wasn't happy. When Bien Juanyi finished his dance, the room erupted in applause. However, the Princess Royal spoke as the applause died down. Bien Dajia's exceptional performance has truly been a feast for the eyes. But Kin Lalang just said such a wonderful dance was mediocre. Thus, I'm curious. Could Kin Lalang perhaps perform for us and show us an even more exquisite dance? Bien Juanyi looked doubtful. Did someone just question his skills? Confident in his abilities, Bien Juanyi approached the disguised crown prince and bowed. I am honored to meet a true expert today. May I request a demonstration? The crowd buzzed with anticipation. Did Kin Lalang possess even greater dancing skills? The disguised crown prince smiled inwardly. This little fox, the Princess Royal, how could he, a man, possibly dance? Wouldn't that truly reveal his disguise? But the trap set by the Princess Royal had to be navigated. He immediately resumed his composed, noble demeanor. 3 years ago, I had the fortune of passing through Luoyang with my grandfather. I happened to witness Hua Kuei Dao and Bien Dajia's performance. The white-robed Gongsun 7 is the renowned Hua Kuei of Luoyang. Adored by many, countless nobles vied for her attention. Bien Juanyi listened, intrigued. He expressed his desire to learn from such legendary figures. The crown prince skillfully deflected the Princess Royal's trap, but his mention of Luoyang piqued her interest. The first time she encountered Hua Kuei Dao Bien was in Luoyang. Does Kin Lalang have a connection to Luoyang? She asked directly. Everyone noticed Kin Lalang's evident discomfort at the mention of Luoyang. The Princess Royal, however, was patient. My grandfather travels between Luoyang and the capital annually to tutor the crown prince. I've accompanied him a few times. The Princess Royal's eyes flashed, but she refrained from further questioning. Bien Juanyi suddenly spoke. Since Kin Lalang is close to the crown prince, could you perhaps share some of his preferences with us? The crown prince will soon be promoted, and we would like to prepare accordingly. The Princess Royal remained impassive. Everyone knew about her interactions with the crown prince. Bien Juanyi was clearly trying to sow discord between her and Kin Lalang. The disguised crown prince replied calmly, From where did Bien Dajia hear that I am close to the crown prince? We have barely met. Is Bien Dajia not satisfied with the sixth prince's favor? Are you now trying to curry favor with the crown prince? Bien Juanyi was speechless. He had accidentally revealed his true intentions. HMPH. You want to create a misunderstanding between me and the crown prince. I won't give you the chance. After the dance concluded, the disguised crown prince smoothly moved closer to the Princess Royal. I find myself drawn to your highness. I wonder if I might invite you to my home for a visit. To everyone's surprise, the Princess Royal refused without hesitation. I don't like going out. With that, she turned and left. Moyu whispered, Your Highness, since you are suspicious of him, why not accept his invitation and investigate? The Princess Royal's eyes glinted. Not this time. Next time, if he dares to appear again, I will play with him properly. It was rumored that the crown prince was too frail to consummate a marriage, and thus, no noble lady was willing to marry him. It seems our Princess Royal was determined to verify this rumor. Meanwhile, at the Eastern Palace, the crown prince gazed at the sky. His symptoms had worsened in recent days. I miss Jawa. She refused to play with me at the Dingweng Manor last time. Does she find me boring? Perhaps I should disguise myself as another young lady. He stared longingly into the distance, a picture of lovesickness. His exasperated attendant, Qian Yuan, wished his master would abandon these thoughts. Your Highness, focusing on matters of the heart is as detrimental as neglecting the people. Fearing the Princess Royal's wrath, Qian Yuan quickly changed the subject. Your Highness, the imperial physician has reported that the Princess Royal is inquiring about your health. Qian Yuan hoped to warn his master and make him wary of the Princess Royal, but the Crown Prince's eyes lit up. She's inquiring about my health. She must care about me. A faint blush colored his cheeks. I should restrain myself lest I scare her away. Qian Yuan was speechless. Your Highness, last year, when Prince Suhui and the ministers inquired about your health, you said they had ulterior motives. Why is it that when the Princess Royal does the same, it's interpreted as concern? But the Crown Prince, lost in his own world, said softly, give her my medical records. She's stubborn and won't give up easily. It's better to give them to her and avoid exposing her people. Qian Yuan hesitantly asked, which version should I give her? The Crown Prince paused, then said quietly, give her the Imperial Physician's version. Qian Yuan struggled to contain his urge to retort. The Imperial Physician's version was the one prepared for the Emperor and rivals. That version would likely frighten the Princess Royal. Any woman who saw it would likely be deterred from marrying him. The Crown Prince, oblivious, remained silent. He didn't understand these matters, and those around him were equally clueless. Tomorrow, Zi Yunhuan will visit me. Consult him on how to handle this. Qian Yuan bowed and left, defeated. It seemed his master was truly smitten with the Princess Royal, beyond saving. That night, the Princess Royal received the Crown Prince's medical records. As he predicted, she didn't understand them, and didn't want others to see them either. She could only ask Zi Yunhuan. But what the Crown Prince didn't know was that the Princess Royal, in her previous life, had been betrothed to Zi Yunhuan. In other words, the Princess Royal was once Zi Yunhuan's fiancée. A few days later, the Princess Royal showed the medical records to Zi Yunhuan. Zi Yunhuan's expression was complex after reading them, but finally, he said, this person seems to have a weak constitution. The Princess Royal pressed, just a weak constitution. Then how can he father children? In truth, the princess was also frail. The rumors circulating might be exaggerated, but her condition wasn't as severe as the Crown Prince's. Zi Yunhui said, this person is different from the princess. The prince's frailty is congenital, while his is acquired. As for whether there's a hidden cause, it's uncertain. Might the princess tell me who this pervasive person is? Faced with Zi Yunui's inquiry, the princess was quite frank. He is someone I'm considering entrusting myself to. Zi Yunhui looked at her thoughtfully. Princess, you must always be this forthright. Those who grow up in the capital are all two-faced. They speak differently to different people. The difference lies in some being obviously so, while others are deeply inscrutable. Hearing the implication in Zi Yunui's words, the princess smiled faintly. Including you. Zi Yunhui didn't deny it. Yes, including me. The princess gazed at him for a long moment, then suddenly smiled. She slowly voiced a question she had pondered for a long time. You were once betrothed to Jiyu Qingji. Why did you break off the engagement? If you hadn't, she wouldn't have had to marry into the royal family. The Jiyu Qingji the princess referred to was the former lover sharing her soul, the princess consort of Prince Shao Changqin. Unrequited love is a matter of life and death. The word love itself carries both life and death. Princess Jiayang's seemingly insignificant flirtations were merely a self-protective disguise. When she was still Jiyu Qingji, the esteemed daughter of the Jiyu family, she had a childhood sweetheart fiancé. Zi Guogong opposed Zi Yunhui. The young Jiyu Qingji, full of anticipation, believed she would become Zi Yunui's wife. But Zi Yunhui unexpectedly broke off the engagement. This sudden rejection left Jiyu Qingji heartbroken. As the daughter of the Chengshang manor, she was then married to Prince Shao Changqin under family arrangements. Years have passed, and though good times remain, Jiyu Qingji's heart is undisturbed. Now, Princess Jiayang, possessing Jiyu Qingji's soul, looked at Zi Yunhui with a mixture of emotions. She couldn't help but ask why he had broken off the engagement with Jiyu Qingji. Hearing this question, Zi Yunhui, his slender eyes narrowed slightly, and long-buried memories resurfaced. I learned medicine because my mother died from wrongly prescribed medicine. The medicine wasn't poisonous, just unsuitable for her condition. She took that unsuitable medicine for 3 years before finally succumbing. And all of this was orchestrated by my father, Zi Guogong. He loved another, but she was betrothed. He reluctantly married my mother. But later, her family fell from grace, and that woman became my father's concubine. If my mother hadn't died, that wouldn't have been possible. For some reason, Zi Yunhui felt a sudden urge to confide in the princess. The princess listened intently, her heart filled with complex emotions. She only knew of Zi Yunui's defiance of Zi Guogong, and his accusations of murder, but she didn't know there was such a story behind it. Unspeakable sorrow filled Zi Yunui's eyes. I couldn't stay at Ziguogong's manor a moment longer. I was afraid I would lose control and bring misfortune upon myself. He gave a self-deprecating laugh. I'm considered an unfilial and rebellious son. If the Jiyu daughter married me, she would be condemned. I broke off the engagement to protect her reputation. Back then, Ziyunue's actions were indeed criticized. This act undoubtedly severed his future prospects. The princess was still puzzled. Why didn't you break up with her in person? This has bothered Jiyu Qingji for years. Even if you broke up, she only received a simple letter. I was expelled from the Guogong manor before the breakup. People would only think I wasn't worthy of the Chengshang manor's daughter. It wouldn't harm her reputation. But if I met her, rumors would spread that we had a secret affair. Not meeting her was the only way to protect her name. The princess was silent for a moment. What if she was willing to live a simple life with you? Before she could finish, Ziyunhui interrupted decisively. No, she is Jiyu Qingji, the model of the capital's noble ladies. If she wanted to, she could have found 1,000 ways to avoid marrying into the royal family. But she chose to sacrifice herself for her family. Because she is the responsible Jiyu Qingji, a woman who has responsibility ingrained in her bones wouldn't abandon her family's mission for personal love. Having finished, Ziyunhui bid farewell to Shen Shi and Li. Pausing at the door, he turned back. You're the same. Shen Shi silently watched Ziyunhui walk away and disappear. He stared blankly out the window. A light rain began to fall. He walked to the window, watching the misty rain, and murmured, I never thought the one who understands me best is. Jiyu Qingji had 1,000 ways to avoid the royal marriage. Shen Shi understood this. But they both made the same choice, bound by their duty. The Jiyu family eventually declined, but Jiyu Qingji had no regrets. She did her best. Ziyunhui told him all this to show him he still had a choice. Ziyunhui didn't want him trapped in the machinations of the royal court. The imperial court is like a dangerous abyss. Once you step in, there's no escape. Even if you become the champion, you'll be covered in wounds. But what other choice was there? He could choose to remain his father and brother's precious son, feigning innocence, enjoying the peace they fought so hard to create. But if they fell, what would become of him? He feared even death wouldn't separate them from their fate. Fate is an invisible hand, manipulating everyone, forcing them into the game. Shen Shi had no way out. As a member of the Shen family, he couldn't escape. When the wind blows, some bask in the scenery, some struggle against the storm, and some wait for the calm. Shen Shi extended his pale hand out the window, feeling the coolness of the autumn rain. Can you believe it? The seemingly weak and helpless crown prince is actually so decisive. Back to the prince. Xiao Changqin's actions completely overturned the prince's expectations. If one day he dropped his playboy facade, the image of a domineering CEO was almost too much to bear. Today, our playboy crown prince had another wicked idea. He wanted to send Xiao Changjing, his rival in love, to his future father-in-law. What if my father-in-law really takes a liking to Xiao Changjing? The crown prince chuckled. No worries, because the princess had no interest in Xiao Changjing, Shen Yushan wouldn't force her. Moreover, once Xiao Changjing arrived in the northwest, he would subtly reveal Xiao Changjing's threats against the princess to his father-in-law. Then he'd see how Xiao Changjing would beg Shen Yushan for mercy. Being the crown prince's love rival is truly a misfortune. But before that, the prince needed to address the issue of the missing defense map. Anshi Protectorate is crucial for the Northwest's defense. The prince's father and brother are stationed there. If the map fell into enemy hands, the Anshi Protectorate might not hold. Such a grave matter would be severely punished by Shen Yushan. The next morning, news of the missing map reached Juming Palace. Strangely, the court was divided. One faction claimed the map was a fake, the other insisted it was a rumor. While they argued, Xiao Changjing volunteered to investigate in the northwest. The princess was surprised. After much thought, she reached a conclusion. Someone is helping us. This person is far more clever than I am. They deliberately made the map's authenticity ambiguous. Even now, no one knows for sure. In the northwest, her wise father would surely have a plan. The princess wondered who was helping her. Could it be Xiao Changqing? But she immediately dismissed the idea. Xiao Changqing simply wasn't capable of this. While the princess puzzled over this, a eunuch from the Eastern Palace arrived with a stone heater. Tang Manlin reported, Princess, the Eastern Palace made limited heaters today. His Highness is frail, and asked me to deliver one to you. After the heater and maids were settled, the eunuch said something shocking. His Highness asked me to tell you, you can rest assured about the Anshi matter. It was like a lightning bolt. The princess was stunned. The person helping her was the crown prince. Within a day, he analyzed the situation, devised a perfect solution, created division in the court, and prompted Xiao Changjing's departure. The prince's intelligence and influence far exceeded her expectations. By helping her and informing her so frankly, he was showing his willingness to ally with her, to be her strong backing. The princess felt his sincerity. Yet, she now hesitated about marrying him. The prince's scheming and decisiveness made her wary. She had to reconsider the marriage. She disliked overly dominant men, just as Jiu Qingji disliked Xiao Changqin. Being controlled was an unpleasant feeling. No one wanted to be a puppet. While the princess pondered, the crown prince sat pale before Emperor Yunning. Our Oscar-worthy crown prince put on quite a show, feigning weakness and coughing. Emperor Yunning, concerned, said, Shilang, if you have something to ask, send someone. You're frail, don't exert yourself like this. Upon hearing this, the prince acted even more dramatically, gasping for breath. Father, I heard about the Anshi matter, and recalled my promise to ask a favor for Zhao Ning. I want my brother Lu Jing to accompany her for the Double Ninth Festival. The prince pleaded with blushing cheeks. Please grant my request, father. Emperor Yunning was distressed by his son's sickly appearance. It's just a small request. Why come yourself? Look at you. The prince coughed lightly, gazing at Emperor Yunning with pleading eyes. Finally, Emperor Yunning relented. I'll issue the decree tomorrow. Shilang, how about I betroth Zhao Ning to you? Hearing the crown prince's request for his family to assist him, the prince's objective became clearer. However, that glimmer of hope quickly turned to despair. Cough, father, I don't have many years left. Marquis Yan Li quickly interrupted him, don't say that. He then gently patted his shoulder with a warm hand. Hasn't the imperial physician said? As long as we find the dripping snow lotus, your body will gradually recover. Your father still hopes to see you marry and have children. The crown prince's voice grew weaker. Father, son will try his best to recover. Yan Ning sighed deeply. I will accompany father for dinner. The crown prince forced a smile, but he didn't know how big a favor he had done for Princess Zhao Ning. How would the princess repay him tomorrow? Can you imagine the noble, aloof, and world-renowned beauty, Zhao Ning, personally preparing delicacies for the crown prince? Princess Zhao Ning was deeply grateful to the crown prince for resolving the crisis for her father, and for obtaining the emperor's grace, allowing her brother to return to the capital. Touched by the crown prince's kindness, Zhao Ning pondered how to thank him. She made 2 kinds of dumplings. One was fresh and fragrant pork paired with tender chives, seasoned with pepper, Sichuan pepper, ginger, and a special blend of spices. The other was luxurious shrimp, made with high-quality river shrimp and sea shrimp, and infused with truffles and pine nuts. To highlight the northwestern flavors, she included a special northwestern sauce. The princess personally sent the shrimp dumplings to Xiao Huayong, the crown prince's personal guard. She also had Ziyu send a bowl to Xiao Qianyuan, another imperial guard. Both bowls were delivered to the East Palace simultaneously. Considering Xiao Huayong's weak constitution, he could only eat a few at a time. Although delicious, too many shrimp dumplings could upset his stomach. But when the crown prince saw 6 delicate dumplings arranged in a small bowl, his expression was a mixture of amusement and helplessness. The delicacies made by his beloved Zhao Ning weren't enough for even 3 bites. The maid bowed, Your Highness, these dumplings are personally made by the princess, as a token of her gratitude. Hearing they were made by his beloved princess, the crown prince suppressed his excitement and feigned concern. But he suddenly noticed another small bowl in the maid's hand. What is this? He asked. The maid replied, This is the dumpling soup the princess specifically prepared for guard Xiao Qianyuan. Xiao Qianyuan, who was standing nearby, lit up at the mention of dumplings for him, but then felt a chill down his spine. He stealthily glanced at his master, meeting a cold gaze. He immediately lowered his head. The crown prince said warmly, Leave them both here. Xiao Qianyuan, escort the maid out of the palace. Xiao Qianyuan could only obediently comply, but when he returned, without a word, the crown prince, having removed his outer robe, had devoured both bowls of dumplings. He hadn't even left a single drop of soup for Qianyuan. A faint, lingering aroma filled the East Palace. Qianyuan tentatively asked, Your Highness, were the dumplings sent by the princess good? The crown prince replied with great satisfaction, tender, smooth, and fragrant. In truth, the crown prince only had 6 dumplings, while Qianyuan's bowl had 20. Yet, the crown prince ate them all in one go, thoroughly content. He leaned back languidly on his imperial concubine couch, looking extremely comfortable. Qian Yuan swallowed hard. Your Highness, shall we have more dumplings tonight? The Crown Prince glared at Qian Yuan. No more dumplings in the East Palace from now on. Qian Yuan looked shocked. Why? The Crown Prince said softly, because I can no longer tolerate dumplings made by anyone else. Although Qian Yuan didn't dare to argue, he thought to himself, if the princess joins the East Palace one day, and insists on making everything herself, then the kitchen staff will be useless. Won't you starve without the princess? Just as Qian Yuan was lost in thought, the Crown Prince suddenly stood up and walked out. Your Highness, where are you going? The Crown Prince walked briskly to the kitchen. Qian Yuan asked, what are you going to do there? The Crown Prince's eyes softened. From today onwards, I will learn to cook for Princess Jiaoning. Upon hearing this, Qian Yuan's jaw dropped. As expected, chaos soon erupted in the kitchen. The Crown Prince squatted down, wielding a large cleaver to chop vegetables. The kitchen staff watched nervously, their faces pale, fearing he would cut himself. Qian Yuan and the other servants hovered around him like anxious mothers. Your Highness, if you want to eat something, let the cooks do it. Why bother learning yourself? The Crown Prince continued chopping. If my cooks made something she liked, she'd definitely ask them to teach her. But if she enjoys food I made, she can only learn from me. Thinking of this, the Crown Prince chopped even more vigorously. Qian Yuan watched the rhythmic chopping and sighed. His smile is so gentle he must be bewitched. Bewitched by love, this was just the beginning. For Princess Jiaoning, who always prioritized her family's interests, men were merely tools. But the Crown Prince was determined to win her over. Would his efforts succeed? Don't you know? Liking this post today might transform you. Comment Mid-Autumn Festival, and a cute bunny will appear. The Crown Prince and Princess Jiaoning's first heart-to-heart. He pretended to share her pragmatic view on relationships. Princess Jiaoning couldn't help but smile sincerely. Your Highness, no one has ever made me feel so at ease. Although she still didn't fully trust him, she felt an unusual sense of relaxation. The Crown Prince said softly, it's my pleasure to chat with you, Princess. Jiaoning looked at him intently. What are your expectations for a wife, Your Highness? The Crown Prince blushed, coughed, and lowered his head. After a moment, he said, not to be bullied, not to be bullied. Jiaoning became serious. Was that all he required? She couldn't help but ask, what if your wife is too weak and easily manipulated, constantly causing trouble for you? Wouldn't that bother you? The Crown Prince replied, the East Palace is full of schemes. If she's too weak, she'll eventually fall into a trap. I won't save her. If she's manipulated and suffers consequences, it's my own incompetence. I won't interfere. Jiaoning stared at the Crown Prince, struck by a sense of familiarity. They were so alike in their unwavering self-reliance. It's getting late. I should return. The Crown Prince stood up and personally escorted her to the East Palace gate. At the gate, Jiaoning turned and said, Your Highness, you are a good person. She smiled faintly and left. The Crown Prince remained at the gate long after she disappeared. He murmured, I'm a good person. A crow flew overhead. Qian Yuan, noticing his master's foolish grin, reminded him softly, Your Highness, there are people outside. Many eyes were watching their every move. The Crown Prince immediately regained his composure. After a brief moment of internal struggle, he leaned on Qian Yuan and returned to the palace. Back in the East Palace, Qian Yuan couldn't help but ask, Your Highness, you clearly have intentions towards the princess. Why did you say such heartless things about abandoning her if she falls into a trap? Is that what you should say to a girl you admire? I was terrified for her. The Crown Prince sighed, only by saying that will she believe me. He longed to express his affection, but Jiaoning would likely recoil from such sentiments. He understood that she didn't want romance, only mutual benefit and a peaceful life. Qian Yuan widened his eyes. There are actually such women in this world. The Crown Prince chuckled. She's like an otherworldly celestial, untouched by earthly desires. Qian Yuan wholeheartedly agreed. His master wasn't bothered by this challenging courtship. He seemed to relish it. He didn't even dare to express his true feelings, and had to resort to deception. Yet, he didn't seem to find his situation pathetic. Qian Yuan suspected his master cared more about winning the princess' favor than ascending the throne. Your Highness, should I take the dumpling recipe to the kitchen? The Crown Prince turned suddenly. Who said the kitchen would make them? Go to the princess' residence and tell them the East Palace will make the dumplings according to her recipe. The ones made here are inferior. Qian Yuan was speechless. He had underestimated his master's shamelessness. When Qian Yuan relayed this message to Princess Jiaoning, she was also speechless. Sighing, She prepared 2 large bowls of filling and instructed Qian Yuan to store them in the ice cellar. Whenever His Highness wants to eat them, just take them out. The taste will remain the same. When Qian Yuan relayed Zhao Ning's message, the Crown Prince broke into a radiant smile, filled with warmth. It's so difficult to earn even a sliver of her favor. He had a long way to go. But before winning the princess, he had to deal with her elder brother tomorrow. The elder brother requests an audience. Zhao Ning confesses to her brother, I choose the Crown Prince. The day before the first month, Shen Yunan rushed to the capital, appearing before his sister, exhausted. Zhao Ning was reading in the courtyard. A suppressed joyful voice called out from behind. She jumped up, turned, and ran towards the voice, lifting her skirt. Shen Yunan, my dear older brother. I've missed you so much. Let me get a good look at you. You've gotten even more handsome. Yu, suppressing a giggle, replied, but you've gotten darker, brother. Shen Yunan had once been a strikingly handsome youth. However, years of harsh sun and wind in the northwest had left his skin tanned and rough. His constant training had made him imposingly strong. If he hadn't chosen the military, many noble ladies would have fallen for his charms. Shen Yunan gently tapped his sister's nose, a loving smile replacing his stern expression. You rascal. Come, let's go inside and talk. Shen Yunan could have returned to the capital sooner, but he was delayed by the investigation into the leaked defense maps of Anshi. Your letter arrived just in time. The consequences would have been dire otherwise. Knowing his sister disliked long explanations, Shen Yunan kept his words concise. Father had just secured the maps when His Highness, the Lai King, somehow learned about it. What did Lai King want with the defense maps? Was he truly threatening you? Lai King only threatened to reveal the map's existence to the Emperor if I refused to meet him. He never mentioned how he would use them. Yu never spoke ill of anyone, not even her enemies. She knew both Shen Yushan and Shen Yunan had previously tried to sabotage her marriage prospects, but she would not distort the truth, even to her family, simply because she didn't want to marry. Shen Yunan fell into deep thought. If it weren't for Lai King's intervention, the situation in Jinan could have been disastrous. Who leaked the Anshi defense maps? Shen Yunan's eyes flashed with a cold light. It was Fu Qing, the vice-general of Anshi. Has already confessed. Fu Qing was born in the northwest and joined the army at. Through distinguished service, he rose to the rank of vice-general in years and never left the northwest. After his arrest, we searched his residence. A recently favored concubine's quarters had been burned, along with many documents. Shen Yunan's expression darkened. A thorough investigation revealed that the concubine was a spy, planted in his household 10 years ago. A pawn hidden so deep trying to find who placed her there now is like searching for a needle in a haystack. The trail goes cold there. It wasn't the Emperor, and Yu was the first to rule out Yunning. If it was Emperor Yunning, he would have acted on the maps long ago since he already had them. Impressed by his sister's insight, Shen Yunan smiled. Yu, you've grown up. This capital is truly a testing ground. You've become so astute in just a few months. Yu chuckled lightly. I've always been observant. It's just that such skills were useless in the northwest. Shen Yunan laughed heartily. Yes, you are right. Your brother and I have held you back from showing your true talents. Yu's expression turned serious. Can we learn how Lai King obtained the maps? It's the only lead we have. That's the only breakthrough point in this investigation. Shen Yunan looked gently at his remarkable sister. Yu, are you certain you have no feelings for him? No, Yu answered without hesitation. Are you truly certain about the Crown Prince? Yu shook her head. I simply find him agreeable for now. Agreeable for now. Shen Yunan was speechless. It was a clear autumn night, the sky pristine, the moon radiant. Yu, dressed in beautiful new clothes, accompanied Gij to the night market. As they reached the 9th floor, they spotted 3 familiar figures from their vantage point, the best spot for moon viewing. It seemed like a scene from a Dali romance drama. There was Xiao Yi, Zhao Hao, and the wealthy merchant Hua Fuhai from Luoyang. Oh my! Just looking at them makes my heart race. They are all aliases used by our crown prince. Yu gazed intently. A figure emerged, stepping out of the shadows, bathed in moonlight, appearing before Yu. It was a young man dressed in elegant blue robes, his face partially obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. Yu, initially relaxed, straightened up, her eyes widening slightly. She wasn't mistaken. Upon seeing the man, the other 3 figures bowed respectfully. Yu quickly stood up, straining to see the man's face, but she could only make out a small portion of his profile. The elegant young man in blue seemed to sense her gaze and turned towards them. His movements were graceful. His eyes quickly scanned the area, and landed on Yu. Yu's heart skipped a beat. It was him. Excusing herself to buy sand lamps, Yu hurried downstairs, leaving her brother at the table, and ran towards the prince's alias. Her gaze pierced through the bustling crowds and vibrant lanterns, past the noisy stalls, and focused on the figure in blue. Their eyes met across the distance. The face was completely unfamiliar. A pure, innocent smile graced his lips, yet there was an undeniable air of charm and mystery about him. A playful glint appeared in the young man's eyes. "Are you looking for me, my lady?" Yu's tone was wary. "Who are you? Why do you keep appearing before me disguised as others? Are you in disguise now, too?" The young man bowed slightly. "Who I am is not important. You only need to remember that I am not your enemy." Then, he looked up with a dazzling smile. "It happens to be the Mid-Autumn Festival tonight, with such a beautiful moon. I wonder if I could have the honor of admiring it with you, my lady." Yu remained silent, her head lowered. Was this encounter a coincidence or deliberate? Determined to uncover his motives, she agreed to accompany him. True affection cannot be concealed. Today, the Crown Prince couldn't resist kissing Yu. The Mid-Autumn Festival on August was celebrated with lanterns and blossoming flowers. The disguised Crown Prince held a delicate flower lantern and carefully walked towards Yu. The lantern clearly displayed Yu's portrait. Yu was stunned. The Crown Prince, his eyes full of adoration, offered the lantern to his beloved. "May we spend many Mid-Autumn festivals together, hand in hand, year after year." Amidst the crowd, Yu stared at her portrait on the lantern, lost in thought. The portrait depicted her holding a bowl in one hand and fireworks in the other, with a gentle smile on her face. It reminded Yu of the incomplete chess game, with the young Crown Prince in Luoyang's Xingling Garden, beneath the setting sun and blooming crepe myrtle trees. Two little girls were playing nearby in the bustling crowd. The older sister snatched a candied hawthorn from her younger sister, teasing, "Catch me if you can." Ha 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 ha. They ran and skipped towards Yu. Suddenly, and seemingly unintentionally, they bumped into Yu, pushing her forward. Yu stumbled, falling into the Crown Prince's arms. The Crown Prince, catching the delicate scent of the girl in his embrace, felt his heart race. Yu quickly straightened up, exclaiming, "I'm so sorry." The Crown Prince seized the opportunity, and placed the flower lantern in her hands. Yu, speechless, stared at the lantern. He really didn't give her a chance to refuse. The disguised Crown Prince continued walking with Yu towards a tranquil body of water. "Many believe the 9th floor is the best place for moon viewing in the capital," the young man said softly. "But I find this place even more enchanting. Look at the reflection of the moon on the water. Here, you can see two moons at once. The moon on the water is the moon in the sky, and the person before me is the person in my heart." This must be what the Crown Prince was thinking. Despite the prince's romantic gestures, Yu remained unmoved. The Crown Prince couldn't help but ask, "Why are you looking at me like that?" Yu answered honestly, "I want to see what kind of person hides beneath this disguise." The Crown Prince smiled. "Everyone in this world wears a mask, except perhaps the Emperor. Am I not the same?" Yu shook her head slightly. "You're wrong. I only have one face, no matter who I'm with. I may have secrets, but I will never deceive to achieve my goals. What I want, I will pursue openly." The disguised Crown Prince chuckled softly. "If I lived so openly, I wouldn't have survived to this day." Indeed. The Crown Prince had been critically ill and forced to leave the palace at the age of 8. If he hadn't learned to disguise himself, he would have suffered the same fate as his mother. Yu sighed softly. "Your honesty I both admire and despise it. Perhaps those are the only two reactions possible. I can only say I'm not as simple as you think. If you truly wish to know who I am, then get to know me. I promise, one day, I will cast aside all disguises and face you with complete honesty." The Crown Prince's words were both heartfelt and difficult to refuse. Yu stepped back slightly. "Even with such sincere words, I can't accept you." The Crown Prince stepped closer. "It's all right if you don't accept me now. We have plenty of time." Yu felt her heart pounding as the Crown Prince drew near. Unable to resist, the Crown Prince gently kissed Yu's forehead, their eyes locking. "You think she's a gentle and sweet young lady, but in reality, she's a cunning and calculating queen of darkness." Yu, tall and strong for her age, had reached marriageable age, but her dark complexion and imposing presence deterred potential suitors. However, she was unexpectedly targeted by the new housekeeper. A middle-aged woman's voice drifted in from outside the courtyard wall. "I worry so much for you. If it weren't for the desolate northwest lacking suitable noble ladies, you wouldn't have this opportunity with your status. You must seize this chance. A sweet, youthful voice followed. Sister. The Northwest Prince is a ruthless killer. Sister. A true man wouldn't have such a reputation. Sister. Otherwise, how could they even consider us? Mother. Even if he's a ruthless killer, once you marry into the Shen family, you'll be the Northwest Princess. Mother. Even if you die in the Northwest, it'll be an honor for the Yuan family. Inner thoughts. Narration. The Northwest Prince, a ruthless killer. Sister. But this man is clearly after my brother's status, yet he scorns my brother's reputation. Shen Yunzu. How dare anyone nitpick about my brother? Shen Yunan, sensing his sister's anger, smiles reassuringly. Yunzu, brother wouldn't be easily angered. Shen Yunzu heads straight for the Yuan family's main gate. Shen Yunzu. Let's see what kind of person has such confidence. Suddenly, Yuan Shi's warhorse neighed, shattering the tense atmosphere. A giant beast charged towards the social climbing Yuan family girl with lightning speed. Yuan Fu shouts. Someone, beat that beast to death. Qiaqiao's nanny urgently pleads. Please wait. This is a beast bestowed by His Majesty. Injuring it is treason. Nanny. Jian is a gift from His Majesty. If you hurt him, you're rebelling against the Emperor. Yuan Fu, furious. Zhu Jingqiao, you indulge your beast to attack people. Nanny. Even if His Majesty were here, you couldn't just kill it without consequence. Zhu Jingqiao speaks calmly. Jian is usually well behaved. I've brought him here many times, and has never hurt anyone. Zhu Jingqiao. But today, he went mad at the sight of Miss Yuan. There must be something unsettling about her. Yuan Fu. Seize her. Yuan Fu, face contorted with rage from Zhu Jingqiao's words. How dare you? The guards of the two houses face off. Junju's voice rings out. This is a sacred place. Please restrain yourselves. Junzu. Perhaps it's Miss Yuan's perfume that provoked the beast. Junzu. Madam Zhu, I have some knowledge of perfumes. Allow me to examine it. Junzu walks towards Miss Yuan. Junzu walks and speaks softly. Servant. She's the Z family's Junzu, renowned for her knowledge. Servant whispers. Isn't she the one whose mother was killed by Zhu Jingqiao's father? Servant. Zi Yinhuai lost his mother because of him. Junzu removes Miss Yuan's sachet. A faint, peculiar scent emanates. Junzu. Madam Zhu, this contains Shantajiyu powder. Take Miss Yuan to the dressing room. Junzu. You can ask the palace attendants about it. Junzu. As for whether Madam Zhu owes you an explanation, let's decide after hearing from the palace. As Junzu finishes, Yuan Shi's face darkens. He doesn't argue and leaves with Miss Yuan. After everyone leaves, Shen Yunzu stares at Qiaqiao. His usual gentle demeanor is replaced with a fierce protectiveness. Shen Yunzu thinks. Shantajiyu is an aphrodisiac. Why would Miss Yuan's sachet contain such a thing? Shen Yunzu thinks. If this gets out, no woman from the Yuan family will have a good marriage. After the Yuan family understands what Shantajiyu is, they wouldn't dare to confront Qiaqiao. Shen Yunzu understands Junju's actions, seeing Qiaqiao's innocent look. Junzu taps his forehead. Come with me. Shen Yunan quickly follows his sister. Qiaqiao stops him, lowering her voice in a warning tone. Qiaqiao. Before I decide I don't want you, don't attract attention. Shen Yunan is stunned. Just now, the young Qiaqiao fiercely defended her nanny. She even dared to speak boldly to Junju's brother. Qiaqiao. Before I decide I don't want you, don't attract attention. Shen Yunan is stunned. Inside the carriage, Junzu calmly questions Qiaqiao. Junzu. Why did you do that? Qiaqiao stares at her shoes, nervously fidgeting with the laces. Qiaqiao. He's shameless, so I helped him. Qiaqiao, slightly smug. See if he dares to make a fuss now. It was Qiaqiao who switched Miss Yuan's sachet. They won't find any evidence afterwards. Qiaqiao beams, seeking praise, but she deflates under Junju's cool gaze. Qiaqiao's smile disappears. Junzu. Even if they can find proof, it's obvious what you did. Junzu. They will definitely demand an explanation from the Zhu family. Qiaqiao, unconcerned. So what? Qiaqiao. My father is a minister, and my grandfather is one of the 3 chancellors. Qiaqiao. The Zhu family might be prestigious, but they still have to give us some face. Qiaqiao. Don't worry, sister. They won't blame me, and they won't sever ties. Junzu, slightly reassured. Don't interfere in my affairs again. Junzu drops Qiaqiao off at the Zhu residence and leaves. Junzu still wonders why the Zhu family spoils Qiaqiao so much. Ziyu whispers. 8 years ago, Zhu Jingqiao's father beat a young official to death. Ziyu. The emperor proposed a posthumous marriage between the Zhu family's daughter and the deceased. Ziyu. The Zhu family thought it was just a formality, so they sent Qiaqiao. Ziyu. But the deceased official's family, driven by grief and rage, locked Qiaqiao in a coffin. Ziyu. Fortunately, by the grace of heaven, Ziyu. The coffin lid opened. Ziyu. Qiaqiao barely escaped with her life. Junzu and her brother are sympathetic to Qiaqiao's ordeal. Meanwhile, the crown prince leisurely eats grapes, listening to a report. Attendant. After the incident, Prince Shen left the capital. Attendant. He just returned not long ago. Attendant. As soon as Prince Shen saw Junzu, he left. The crown prince chuckles softly. Crown prince. I suspect Prince Shen is most likely responsible for the missing defense plans. Crown prince. He probably wants to lure out the Heshi garrison. Crown prince. Let him try. His Majesty's throne is built on the Northwest King's contributions. He won't get anything from him. Crown prince. Inform my uncle discreetly, letting him guess who betrayed him. Crown prince thinks of Junzu and her love for Pingzhong leaves. The crown prince's lips curve into a gentle smile. He catches a falling Pingzhong leaf. Crown prince. Send these leaves to Junju's residence. Crown prince. And ask her how to make a pillow filled with Pingzhong leaves. Crown prince. That way, I can share her scent, even from afar. Poem, Inner Thoughts. Generals build empires on bones, while emperors tread a lonely path. The crown prince understands Junju's heart, and his position allows him to approach her. Servant. Your Highness, I heard you admire Pingzhong leaves. Servant. The East Palace also has some. Allow me to present them to you. Servant. Does Junzu know the use of Pingzhong leaves? Junzu. Pingzhong leaf pillows can help with sleep. It is truly a feast for the eyes. Our crown prince is truly powerful, yet also sentimental. Could you share the recipe with this subordinate, princess? Princess Yo-Yo smiled gently and kindly fulfilled the young guard's request. Her elder brother, Shen Yunan, gave a cold snort of disapproval from the side, and old Anzi also sighed. Princess Yo-Yo said helplessly, brother, you're teasing me again. Yo-Yo, the crown prince is deeply scheming. He either feigns helplessness so you can refuse him, or he showers you with gifts, leaving you with no excuse to return. Princess Yo-Yo couldn't help but laugh. Brother, if I have good intentions towards Li Ming, why should I be distant? Although I don't need to be inseparable from him, I'm willing to be close like allies. Shen Yunan remained dissatisfied, that crown prince is a black-heart royal brat. I don't think he'll be satisfied with just being allies. Princess Yo-Yo replied softly, it doesn't matter if he's satisfied or not. My stance has always been clear. Seeing his sister's resolute attitude, Shen Yunan got down to business. A few days ago, the Hashi Jadushi was impeached. Today, the court was in an uproar over the selection of a new Jadushi. This is a crucial position. The princes are probably eager to install their own people. The Hashi Jadushi was originally Prince Ding's father-in-law. Prince Ding usually appeared indifferent to official matters. Unexpectedly, he was secretly plotting. Unfortunately, the Northwest Defense Map incident exposed his act. Princess Yo-Yo sighed, it's not a pity that Prince Ding was exposed. It's Princess Ding I pity. If he really did this, no matter who ascends the throne in the future, to show their virtue, they will surely bestow the Ding household with lifelong wealth and honor. But now, Princess Ding must be heartbroken at this moment. As Princess Yo-Yo predicted, at that moment in Prince Ding's mansion, Princess Ding's eyes were glistening with tears. Why? Why did you lie to me? Back then, Yi family's grandfather forbade her from marrying into the royal family, fearing she would be caught in the imperial power struggles. But she had already set her heart on Xiao Changtai. Prince Ding promised her he would keep her away from the strife and ensure her a peaceful and happy life. But now, Prince Ding held Yi Wantang's shoulders. Wantang, you know how I've treated you all these years. I was just afraid. As a prince, I don't belong to any of my brothers. If it were Prince Kang, it would be fine, but the crown prince will die sooner or later. I cannot gamble on this. Princess Ding's eyes flickered with tears. Have you ever considered what lengths you must go to in order to win? Have you ever thought about the consequences if you fail? Prince Ding met his wife's sorrowful gaze and lowered his eyes. Princess Ding's tears streamed down her face. Let me tell you. If you fail, I and the entire Yi family will be buried with you. If you succeed, You will have to kill your brothers, and perhaps even your father. Is power really that important? Important enough to pay such a terrible price? Prince Ding remained silent. Wantang, it has come to this. Even if I want to withdraw now, no one will believe me. Princess Ding closed her eyes in sorrow. You never thought about withdrawing, Xiao Changtai. Listen to me. I'm not afraid to be buried with you. This is the price I pay for my past naivete, but I will never allow my child to become a tool in your power struggle. After saying this, she turned away with a heartbroken expression. Go find someone willing to fight for you. I'll help you with the divorce. If that's not enough, I'll even take the blame. Prince Ding looked at her retreating figure and choked out, Wantang, in your heart, am I so incompetent, destined to be a loser? Princess Ding pushed him away, tidying her clothes. I'm more afraid of you becoming a monster. When you're covered in blood and sins, wearing the emperor's crown, you will no longer be my husband, no longer the man in my heart. You've always dreamed of ruling the world and changing its course, but at the end of this road, you will be unrecognizable. Prince Ding slammed his fist against the wall, gritting his teeth and uttering a name. Xiao Changqing. If it weren't for Xiao Changqing's scheme, he wouldn't have been exposed so early. Now his wife had completely lost hope, and was so helpless. He would tear Xiao Changqing to shreds. At that moment in the Eastern Palace, Shi Wei reported to the Crown Prince from behind. Your Highness, Prince Ding already knows it was Prince Shen who set him up. The Crown Prince stood in the garden of the Eastern Palace, dappled sunlight filtering through the leaves onto him. Our informant-placed prince was confident in the position of Hashijadushi. This is a checkmate. Your Highness, the Hashijadushi controls the Northwest Army. Prince Shen is already on good terms with the Northwest King. He wants Heshi even more now, to build support for Prince Lai in the future. Your Highness, how can you let him succeed? The Crown Prince glanced sideways, his eyes cold. If he doesn't want it, no one can force him. If currying favor with the Northwest King could win Princess Yoyo's heart, would it be their turn? This prince would have done it long ago. The Crown Prince snapped off a stray branch. It's more interesting this way. Letting Prince Wasman become the Hashijadushi will only make Prince Sai hate him more. More importantly, it will make His Majesty wary of Prince Wu. His Majesty has enough people to worry about. He won't have time to meddle in other matters. The Crown Prince repeatedly used tricks to get close to the girl he loved, but the girl was too clever and finally saw through his disguise. Several days later, Princess Yo-Yo learned that the new Hashijadushi was Prince Shen's associate. Shen Yunan was indignant. It seems the Northwest Defense Map incident was a ploy by Prince Shen and Prince Lai to frame Prince Ding. Considering the new Hashijadushi's appointment, someone must be pulling strings behind the scenes. Xiao Changqing didn't want to install his own people directly, as it would be too obvious. Brother, do you know who replaced Prince Shen's vacated position? Shen Yunan replied quickly. His Majesty chose someone from his personal Golden Five Guards to fill the vacancy. It should be His Majesty's confidant. Princess Yo-Yo stroked her cat's neck, a thoughtful expression on her face. Then who filled the vacant position in the Golden Five Guards? Sister, do you suspect someone took this opportunity to install Xiao Changqing's people into the Golden Five Guards? Shen Yunan felt the possibility was slim. After all, the Golden Five Guards were His Majesty's personal guards. Princess Yo-Yo smiled faintly. The Imperial Envoy and the Golden Five Guards. One is His Majesty's blade, reaching the common people. The other is His Majesty's shield, impervious to deception. Since the Imperial Envoy can be replaced with an impostor, why can't the Golden Five Guards? Princess Yo-Yo smiled deeply. I need to enter the palace and see the Crown Prince. In the Eastern Palace, the Crown Prince was delighted to see Princess Yo-Yo arrive. His clear eyes held a gentle warmth. Yo-Yo, please have a seat. After Princess Yo-Yo was seated, the Crown Prince personally poured her a cup of fragrant tea. I was rude earlier. Please forgive me, Princess. I learned of your courtesy name from Shizzy and found it quite serendipitous, so I remembered it. Princess Yo-Yo raised an eyebrow. Serendipitous. The Crown Prince coughed gently and said warmly, my grandmother, fearing I wouldn't be blessed with good health and longevity, gave me the courtesy name Lumming. The Book of Songs says, Yo-Yo Lumming, the deer cry. I have good guests, playing ancient tunes. The Crown Prince implied that Yo-Yo and Lumming were a match made in heaven. A faint smile played on Princess Yo-Yo's lips. Lu is also the character for road, often referring to the widest road, the highest position. For example, conquering the Central Plains. At these words, the Crown Prince's brow twitched almost imperceptibly. It seemed Princess Yo-Yo had an agenda today. I still remember Princess asking me if I was resigned to my fate. As the legitimate heir, if I can't ascend the throne, no one else can claim the rightful throne. Although my health is poor, as long as I live, I should strive for that day. Princess Xuanzhu asked without hesitation, Your Highness, is the Dagu order of any use to you? The Crown Prince feigned ignorance. Xuanzhu is referring to the treasure of the Baichu sect. I sent people to search, but found nothing. I also inquired about the whereabouts of the demonic sect, but heard the Dagu order was already taken. Anyone who wants the Dagu order must be in dire need of it to save their life. Thinking this, I stopped inquiring. Whose life isn't precious? I can't abuse my power and seize it by force. Princess Xuanzhu questioned, Your Highness, are you truly concerned for the people? The Crown Prince readily replied, As the Crown Prince, I should care for the people even more. If today I disregard another's life to save my own, tomorrow I might disregard the people's suffering for my own selfish desires. Such a Crown Prince would not be a blessing, but a curse to the people. Princess Xuanzhu sneered, Is that why Your Highness resents Physician Fu? The Crown Prince continued his pretense, displaying a fitting amount of confusion. Zunzu's eyes pierced through him, as she directly confronted the Crown Prince. The Dagu order is in my possession. I encountered a mysterious person after obtaining the Dagu order. This person impersonated His Majesty's wardrobe attendant before me. Then, the wealthy merchant Huahai. Next, the Delhi Temple Assistant Minister. Finally, the masked official on Mid-Autumn Night. Your Highness, who else could possess such transformative abilities? The Crown Prince fell into deep thought. A very royal thought, an imperial thought. Princess Xuanzhu watched him intently. Indeed, it must be someone of royal blood. Among the princes, you hardly know any of them. Your Highness, you can suspect anyone. The straightforward Princess Xuanzhu tore through the Crown Prince's disguise. Yet the Crown Prince confessed, I want to join hands with you. I want to marry you. Just now, Princess Xuanzhu directly asked, Who do you think the mysterious person is, Your Highness? This blunt question made the Crown Prince slightly ashamed. He coughed a few times. I left the palace at 8 and didn't grow up with my brothers, so I don't know them well. Princess Xuanzhu nodded meaningfully. The Northwest Defense map was stolen by the former Hashi Jadushi. I hope Your Highness supports the army. One of the goals is to place our people in Hashi, but Prince Xin, Xiao Changqing, is upright and just. How could the Emperor allow his own relatives to hold such a crucial position as the Hashi Jadushi? Since that master of disguise can manipulate the situation, he naturally has the means to seize this vital position. Princess Xuanzhu had made herself so clear. The Crown Prince, being intelligent, could no longer feign ignorance. Is the princess suspecting that I am the mysterious person you speak of? Princess Xuanzhu acquiesced, Your Highness, I dislike joining forces with the strong. I'd rather be their enemy. If I join forces with the strong, should we fall out, they become deadly enemies. But if we've never been allies, regardless of whether the enemy is strong or weak, if we remain unaware of each other, even if we are defeated one day, it won't be a complete annihilation. The Crown Prince chuckled. I don't want to join hands with the princess. I want to join hearts with the princess. Princess Xuanzhu couldn't help but ask, Are you truly sincere towards me? The Crown Prince swore his sincerity, pointing his finger towards the sky. Most importantly, whether for me or the princess, we are each other's best choice. Princess Xuanzhu had to admit, You are indeed my best choice now. But now doesn't mean forever. The princess remained wary. She just wanted a puppy, not realizing the Crown Prince was a big bad wolf. After the princess left, the Crown Prince sighed, Careless of me. I didn't expect my kindness in helping the Crescent Moon sect to expose my identity. The princess quickly deduced the truth based on the timeline, and guessed he was the mysterious person. Shi Wei stood by, inquiring about the next plan. The Crown Prince instructed, Ensure a clean sweep. Avoid revealing more of our forces. His gentle voice, carrying a banknote, dispersed in the wind. He'll make sure you understand that what is now, will always be. The private feast was bustling. Amidst the music and wine, amidst the laughter and banter. 2 days later, at the Empress Dowager's birthday banquet, Princess Jiao Jiao, having finally found a quiet corner, slipped inside. But just as she settled down, she heard a familiar voice. She was originally the eldest daughter of the Prince of Nan, but for the sake of her family's interests, she had disguised herself as a man since childhood. The Emperor betrothed her to a princess, so she spread rumors about herself, claiming to have broken sleeves and a fondness for men. Her mischievous and playful behavior was truly amusing, and she even managed to bend her intended fiancé. Kui Jingbai, the fourth young master of Delhi, fell hopelessly in love with Jiao Jiao through their frequent interactions, and in order not to make things difficult for Jiao Jiao, he was even willing to be a concubine. Until one day, the bent Kui Jingbai finally discovered Jiao Jiao's true gender. That feeling was truly indescribable. At the Empress Dowager's banquet, Jiao Jiao strolled out, fanning herself playfully. Why are you following me? Have you finally realized this young master's unparalleled charm? She had tasted the endless joys between men. Facing Kui Jingbai, Jiao Jiao's words were teasing and suggestive. Kui Jingbai anxiously questioned, all those rumors outside, were they your doing? Jiao Jiao feigned ignorance. What rumors? I haven't heard any rumors. Junzu, Jiao Jiao's close confidant, stood beside her. The rumors had spread throughout the capital. The tale of the Prince of Nan and the fourth young master of Dali falling into the river together, entangled like waterweeds, had become the talk of the town. The rumors about Jiao Jiao and Kui Jingbai grew even wilder. Princess Enling claimed to have seen them embracing. Some young lord swore he witnessed them well, in a compromising position. Kui Jingbai, angered by Jiao Jiao's feigned ignorance, was livid. You chased after me the moment you saw me. What do you want? Jiao Jiao watched the drama unfold with amusement. What do I want? I want to get closer to you, of course. Kui Jingbai's face darkened. I just want to know, why do you keep slandering me? Does it benefit you, princess? Jiao Jiao batted her eyelashes. Oh my, you clearly care about me. Just like you care if a lover is sincere. How cute. You say I slander you. You say you don't care about me. Look at you, so flustered. Nobody saw me chasing after you, princess. But everyone saw young Master Kui running after me. Jiao Jiao smiled mischievously, humming a suggestive tune. Kui Jingbai, ashamed, couldn't argue with her and ran away. Jiao Jiao called after him, let's chat a bit longer, young Master Kui, so others can have more to gossip about. Everyone's so bored lately. Let's be kind and add some excitement to their lives. Kui Jingbai, blushing furiously, didn't dare say another word. He fled, leaving behind only a retreating figure. Jiao Jiao chuckled, little lamb, you're still too tender. The Empress Dowager's banquet was filled with beautifully dressed guests. Officials in splendid attire lined up in the main hall. Jiao Jiao, uninterested in the festivities, slipped away behind the rockery and found Junzu. Junzu asked, what are you looking for me for? Bu Jiao Jiao, draped in a long robe, bowed slightly to Princess Junzu. I've been thinking about you so much, sister. Junzu rolled her eyes. Smooth talker. Should I wash your mouth out with soap? Hearing this, Bu Jiao Jiao waved his hands repeatedly. He had seen Junju's methods before. He quickly changed the subject. Didn't you ask me to keep an eye on Kui Jinglan? I've been observing him for some time. I found that he has no connection with Prince Shua or the king, but he is close to the Pei family. The Pei family? Junzu was a little surprised. The Pei family is a family of scholars, also the maternal family of Empress Xiao Changye, the late emperor's consort. Thank you. Junzu gave Bu Jiao Jiao a rare smile. Bu Jiao Jiao wiped the cold sweat from his brow, sighing inwardly. It seemed his efforts to impress the beauty with his competence had finally paid off. You should go. We'll attract attention if we stay together too long. Bu Jiao Jiao reluctantly bid farewell to the beauty. Watching Bu Jiao Jiao's retreating figure, Junzu instructed Bu, have someone send the incense I prepared to Bu Jiao Jiao. Bu Jiao Jiao still hadn't broken the habit of using women's cosmetics, because those were his mother's belongings, but doing so could easily expose his secret. He always wore a jade pendant, supposedly for warding off evil, as a disguise. This way, he could openly use his beloved cosmetics. Speaking of which, Xiaoluoli is clearly yours, yet she adores Junzu. For Junzu, she even married Junju's brother, forfeiting her chance at a higher-ranking marriage. The real business was about to begin. The Empress Dowager's birthday banquet had just ended. Next came the public lantern festival, and there were signs of unrest among the people. Shen Yunan suggested to his sister, let's go over there. But Xiaoluoli, who had already run over, tugged at Junju's wide sleeve. Sister, I want to go this way. Shen Yunan repeated, I want to go over there. Xiaoluoli ignored him, fixing her large, pleading eyes on Junzu. Sister, I want to go this way. It was always the opposite direction to wherever Shen Yunan wanted to go. Junzu looked around and then made a decision. You two go that way first, then go over there. I'm not interested in these things, I'll wait for you here. There's such a solution. Xiaoluoli looked at Shen Yunan in front of her, snorted softly, and walked away. Shen Yunan touched his nose. This child really doesn't understand etiquette. But recalling Junju's charming appearance tonight, he couldn't help but smile indulgently. Everything will proceed according to yesterday's plan. You must ensure sister's safety. Junzu had specifically chosen a quiet and secluded spot, but a small eunuch with sharp eyes ran over and bowed to Junzu. Fourth princess invites Princess Junzu to meet her. Junzu stared at the eunuch until his face turned pale, then gave a cold smile. Let's go. Today, Junzu had come to accomplish a major task. To bring down Prince Kang. According to the information secretly obtained by the Shadow Guard, Prince Kang had been secretly creating an army of soldiers for the Emperor in recent years. 2 days ago, Junzu sent people to follow Prince Kang's weaponsmith and deliberately left clues for Prince Kang to discover, making it seem like the matter had been exposed. With both Junzu and Shen Yunan establishing influence in the capital, Prince Kang would definitely try to eliminate them, and today was the perfect opportunity. Junzu was already prepared. The eunuch, using the excuse of the princess' invitation, led Junzu to a more remote area. Finally, they arrived at a deserted lakeside. The eunuch pointed to a small boat moored nearby. Princess Junzu, please board. The princess is waiting for you at Xian Pavilion. Junzu, seeing through the ruse, boarded the boat with the eunuch. After boarding, Junzu smelled a strong floral fragrance, a mixture of several intoxicating spices. But Junzu was a master perfumer. She covered her nose with a special handkerchief and coughed twice, then took a refreshing and invigorating fragrance from the handkerchief and put it in her mouth. Just as they were about to reach the center of the lake, the eunuch suddenly collapsed. Junzu and Bu pretended to fall with him, landing on the eunuch's body. The three fell together, seemingly unconscious. A man in black rushed out, brandishing a gleaming blade. The knife flashed coldly in the night. The blade was aimed at Junzu. At this critical moment, Bu, who knew martial arts, opened her eyes silently. She drew a soft sword from her waist and blocked the attack. She swept her long leg towards the assailant's lower body. The man in black, sensing danger, jumped back. Just then, a dart flew from afar, piercing the assailant's shoulder. The man's knife clattered to the ground, and he was quickly subdued by Bu. But before Bu could interrogate him, the man bit a poison capsule hidden in his mouth and died. Bu helped Junzu up. Soon, a man carrying another man rushed over. Junzu, the prince is ready on the other side. Everything is proceeding according to plan. He then silently carried away the dead assassin. Junzu looked at the man and smiled. She looked up at the distant sky, brightened by the flickering flames of the lanterns. Empress Dowager Xiao Changye returned to the main hall. Officials and nobles were gathered, waiting for the emperor to dismiss them. But a shrill cry came from outside. Everyone looked over in surprise. 2 maids were supporting Junzu, who was disheveled, blood-stained, and pale. Your Majesty. Someone tried to kill us. That person is Prince Kang. The furthest distance in the world is when I stand right in front of you, but you don't know I love you. Xiao Changqing finally met his beloved wife. This day, Junzu and Jia went to Xianghua Temple to deliver specially prepared incense. Xianghua Temple had a centuries-old agarwood tree, which Junzu particularly liked. But when Junzu asked to burn incense made from the centuries-old agarwood, the presiding monk hesitated for a moment, saying a benefactor was currently meditating in the Pingzhong courtyard and hoped they would not disturb him. Junzu smiled faintly. It's all right. We will only ask if we may pay our respects. We won't disturb him. Junzu only wanted to offer incense, not to monopolize the entire area. The monks led them to Pingzhong courtyard. From afar, they could see a giant agarwood tree, its branches like a golden canopy covering the entire courtyard. Golden rays of light filtered through the leaves, creating a mesmerizing scene. And amidst this golden glow, a solitary figure stood out. Junzu stopped at the entrance to the courtyard. The man was dressed in plain black robes, his long hair loosely tied, exuding an air of gentle melancholy. He stood quietly, leaves falling silently onto his shoulders, a picture of serene sorrow. Junzu hadn't expected to see Xiao Changqing again under such circumstances. According to tradition, widows should observe a 3-year mourning period before remarrying. But few truly adhered to the full 3 years. Xiao Changqing's wife had passed away for over 4 years. Yet Xiao Changqing was still dressed in mourning clothes. Seemingly sensing someone behind him, Xiao Changqing turned around. His gaze fell on Junzu, and he couldn't help but freeze. This was the first time he had seen Junzu. An intense sense of familiarity washed over him, leaving him bewildered. His heart pounded in his chest, and a soft gasp almost escaped his lips. It wasn't until Shen Yunan and his sister approached that Xiao Changqing regained his composure and greeted them formally. As if they were complete strangers, both sides exchanged polite greetings, maintaining a respectful distance. Shen Yunan bent down to pick up some clean, beautiful fallen leaves. Brother, what are you doing? Junzu saw that Shen Yunan had collected many fallen leaves. I'll take them back and make a leaf pressing. Do you like pressed leaves, sister? Shen Yunan had once made several leaf pressings and given them to Junzu as gifts. She appreciated Shen Yunan's thoughtfulness. Unwilling to see the pressed leaves wither, she found a way to carefully preserve them in resin, using them for a long time before replacing them. Junzu smiled and, ignoring her elegant attire, squatted down to join Shen Yunan in collecting leaves. Let's pick some more so you can make one for me too, brother. The siblings chatted happily, comparing the leaves they found, showing each other particularly large or beautiful ones. Xiao Changqing stood to the side, watching the cheerful siblings, a sense of loss washing over him. Just now, when he first saw Junzu, he thought he was hallucinating. A sharp pain even stabbed at his heart. But now, watching Junzu squatting down, her elegant robes revealing her delicate embroidered shoes, he realized it was his longing that had conjured up this illusion. His wife, a woman who adhered strictly to rules and etiquette, would never act so freely and carefree. Xiao Changqing turned and left the courtyard silently. Chinga, I miss you so much, I'm going mad. Xiao Changqing, who deeply loved his wife, didn't know that she was actually there, doing things she wouldn't have dared to do before, or speaking in ways she hadn't before. She had moved on, while he was still trapped in his grief. He regretted his stubbornness, his missed opportunities. Now, it was too late.